So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. World's SemiFinals TES versus T1. Can China finally break through the LPL Moiderers? T1, notably, have never lost to a Chinese team at Worlds. They are, they are the sword that cuts through the sinew and steel. And we might see it again today. But anyways, I'm your host, the Fallen Zayndom.
Dom Cuzzle make a mistake,
And
didn't care,
enjoy
just
the
had a
game.
giggle and just kept it going.
Show.
And that is something that I think they've correctly
about 10
identified.
minutes
It
from
can
now,
make such a
if you want to
difference
see game
in the up and down of League of Legends.
That's also something I feel like Jackeylove's first ever team did have, right? In 2018, IG. I remember interviewing him afterwards and he just like refused to let go of the Summoner's Cup. He's just sitting there like with this super heavy cup. Ning is standing next to him with his World's MVP trophy, which by the way is like this tall. And Ning is just laughing hysterically throughout the entire thing. And so I think like if he can go back, if this top esports team can find a way to kind of laugh off the mistakes and play together as a unit, they are a really formidable team. And I'm glad he also brought up the word patience, because I feel like when they're at their best domestically, TES are a very patient team with their setups.
I love that he also said the pressure, it is not a burden, right? Because they consider it as an honor that they even get the chance to do that. Now, when we look at the teams and kind of what has changed on that miraculous run from T1 in the past years, it is in the top lane. And I want to talk about it for just a second, because 369, he has a revenge to exact. Can he do it over Doran?
And that's a very tough question, because historically, obviously, that was Doran's biggest weakness. That's where he has really struggled. But I think that Doran, thus far, has done his job perfectly well. I think he started a little slow during Swiss stage, but thus far for me in the knockouts, he has been what he needs to be, which is a rock for the team, not give up any objectives. Sometimes. Okay. He can be both, you know, he is the Croc Lord still.
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, both times that 369 has met Doran, he has bested him, but of course that wasn't on T1, and that is the issue, is that it's this team game. But 369 has really blown me away. I do think he is one of these players that has been so consistent over the years and has really been able to evolve his game as it needs to within the meta. When they need him to play carries, he can bring that. When they need him to play tanks, he can bring that. And I think there's very few players, really only those special top laners, that can be so well-rounded.
Yeah, it is still something that a lot of people are looking at, I think, right? Because they're going to need that superstar performance, or maybe not. It all depends on what version of the team shows up. But what you can be very certain of is that Faker is going to show up. I mean, he has never missed top 4. He has been to the finals for 3 years in a row, trying to make this his 4th. It's incredible resilience.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the things that blows me away is it's not just about shot calling. It's not about the veteran factor. It's about individual plays at this World, where he's finding, flick after flick on a Gala to end the game against IG, where he's finding these hero moments on a Kali to take over a game on these mechanically difficult champions. It just feels like he is in another renaissance, the like 50th renaissance of Faker's career.
He's on his like, what, 60th wind at this point, like he's gathering storm. He has gathering storm. The big thing to me, Chronicler, I know you and I talk about this
want to die.
a lot during, it's okay, during the LCK season, is that regardless of his form domestically, he always shows up internationally. And it's so impressive how he consistently reinvents himself on the international
And
stage.
it's wonderful as an LCK analyst, because you can do two things. You can be like, man, Faker's laning phase doesn't really look too good, but I'm sure that he'll be able to make it happen again. And you always have to kind of wish-wash, because this is just one of those examples where every single year the same thing happens. If you asked me after summer, what would I say was the weakness for T1? Faker's laning phase hasn't looked too great. Have we seen it here at Worlds? No! No, we haven't!
And I think it's really poignant after if you look at what happened yesterday, right, and Chovy not being able to make it. You can have all those other things usually. You can be the best in lane. You can be the best at moving around the map or having the best champion pool. But if you don't have clutch, you have nothing.
Absolutely. And another thing that I heard a lot of people talking about for Faker was, how's his champion pool going to be in Fearless?
Yeah.
Will he be able to play enough champions at the elite level? Well, guess what? He's played 13 champions, the most of anyone here at Worlds. He's playing a new champion basically every single game, and he's looking stellar at it. You know, even the throwbacks to like the LeBlanc, which to me, every time Faker locks LeBlanc, I'm like, okay, let's go.
Let's go. It's still all there, all that legacy champion pool as well. And I think it's definitely interesting if you contrast it to players like Jackeylove, right? Because as you said, someone who won the title first go and never was able to grasp that moment again, whilst Faker is someone who has been at the top, been at the bottom, came right back a million times over.
Yeah, I mean, like in all this discussion, Faker also won the title on his first go, right? So, and he has consistently brought teams to that title over and over again. And I think the big thing to me is just whenever it's like, oh, you're only going to play mid lane Lulu now. Okay, he changes his play. Oh, you need to learn Azir because we're going to sub in Easy Hoon until you do. Oh, guess what? Next play he shows up. He's the best Azir in the LCK. And so it's that like consistency to just grind out new play styles, new champions, along with his game knowledge is just so impressive.
It's been crazy. Let's see how our fans voted at home at MasterCard GG on X and
I
who
wonder
they're calling the vote
who
for.
is winning.
Who would it be? Oh, it's T1 with 86% of the votes.
I know.
Oh, whoa.
I always talk about, yeah, it's always T1. But even for T1 standards, this is a little silly. That's outrageous. Normally we stay to like maybe 75.
I think this is a combination of like the T1 Worlds buff and the TES Worlds debuff, like
They're in semis. Where's the debuff?
Yeah. Where's the
colliding
belief?
together. It's a perception.
It is a perception. What a huge match. I want to pull up all of our predictions as well. There were a couple of people yesterday who were correct in predicting the KT win. I think Azel was one of them, but you can see it. It kind of reflects how a lot of people want to give it to T1, but there's still that idea of TES has the chance to do the biggest thing for their region on home soil.
Yeah, for me, I really want top esports to show up and like show up strong, right? Like bring those really strong early games through Birthday Boy Kanavi. Show your patience around objectives, and then regardless of who wins, I'll be happy. Obviously, I am calling it 3-1 for T1. I have yet to bet against this T1 team at Worlds over the past few years, and
You're not going to start now.
no.
I'm going to have faith in TES to show the level of gameplay that they've both shown thus far and that they've shown domestically. And that's why I'm going for 3-2, because I trust T1 blindly when it comes to winning. But for me, as the players themselves have said, as we heard Jackeylove say, all they want to do, they just want to perform, right? You just want to come here, show your best game. And I think that their best game, unfortunately, will not be enough because of the level of their opponents. But I'm expecting a banger best of 5 today.
You know, actually, I kind of had changed my mind. I was thinking about it more. I feel like TES could actually win, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
There's 5 key things that we're going to have to focus on
God.
here. So they're going to
Okay.
have to play with no fear. That's not a problem when you have Jackeylove on your team. You can lock in. You can be able to really do it. Oh,
Where's
where'd
the
my
pen?
marker
Where's
go?
the marker?
The marker
That's right
fell
behind you. We
off.
got you.
We got you.
We're going. All right. You're also going to have to be able
Oh, God.
to
Okay, I already
adapt.
see what's coming.
You're going to have to be able to adapt throughout the series here, because I think if you're going to take down T1, it's probably going to go long. You need to be able to be flexible with your picks. You need to be able to make the right choices at the right moment. You're also going to need to have killer instinct. When the mistakes are made by T1, and they will be made because this team has not been flawless, you're going to have to capitalize on it, okay? Also, you really are going to have to execute on your plays. You have got to be able to set up your set plays around objectives. You've got to be able to make it happen and crush in those plays.
Okay.
And the last thing is, you're
Yeah.
going to have resilience, okay?
Okay.
Of
You're going
course.
to have to be resilient throughout this series when things get tough. But sometimes, though I think if they can pull off these 5 things, sometimes simplicity is better.
It's true.
Sometimes you really just have to focus on one key fact.
Oh.
One key thing in a series. And that's
That's
Faker. I'm just kidding.
beautiful,
T1's going to take it,
Oh.
of course. It's the GOAT. He's too clutch.
I love it. This was wonderful. This man always delivers when it comes to predictions, and I think you're agreeing with him. You're smiling.
I really am, and I can't believe, because when I came into the LCK, there was always this talk about Faker, right, about what he was able to do. And there was some doubt. Showmaker came up, we had Zeka, we had Chovy, but here we are, 3 years later, and guess what? We're going into another semifinal. He's here again, and they're the favorites.
Ever since they lost in 2022 in those grand finals, they have taken it as a personal badge of honor to run it back and win, again, and they have another chance to get to the grand finals today for T1. But it is 12 years of defeat for the LPL in best of fives at Worlds at the hands of Faker. And Top Esports, they are the chosen ones. It is Jackeylove who takes that chance and gets this chance to take revenge for all of the LPL. It's gonna be one for the books. T1 versus Top Esports to find out who joins KT in the grand final of Worlds 2025.
春兰、夏竹、秋菊、冬梅，人称四君子。志远心自明。 冬梅于霜雪中傲立，凌寒独开。
又进世界赛了，我们还是4强。去年输给 T1 之后，感觉就是差距比我想象中的更大一点，还是很失落的。
每次世界赛总能碰到 T1，因为有飞快选手的存在。对于我来说，这一次会不一样的。我们都互相信任，我们都相信每个人也都能站出来。
输了的时候就要想着下次有机会一定要赢回来。我会努力抓住每一波机会。
记录就是用来被打破的。
夏竹于青山中扎根，任由风打。Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name?
이번 연도 같은 경우에는 그냥 모든 대회가 다 힘들었었던 것 같고요. 이렇게 연습 때부터 고전하는 적이 좀 처음인 것 같아서 실전에서도 좀 자신감이 없는 상황이었었던 것 같습니다.
제가 월즈 리핏을 이뤄내고 바로 다음 해 교체 기용을 당한 거에 대해서 힘들었었던 것 같고, 그럼에도 한편으로는 세계에서 가장 대단한 선수인 페이커 선수도 그런 일이 있었기 때문에 저도 이 시기를 잘 보내보려고 노력했던 것 같습니다. 상혜경은 정말 많은 일이 있음에도 그 자리에 꿋꿋이 서 있는 게 가장 높은 대나무를 보는 것 같습니다.
T1이 없다면 유산도 없습니다. 유산을 가지고 싶다면 저희를 넘어야 할 겁니다.
然华夏祥瑞，气象大千。典籍所记有神异瑞兽、龙首、弥深、怒宗。瑞兽若现，天命将至。 谁能挺进决赛？
他们有很多可以失去的，但我们什么都不怕，一切都是用来打破的。
결코 깨질 수 없는 기록도 존재합니다.
“全球的英雄联盟”粉丝们，大家好，欢迎来到上海梅赛德斯奔驰文化中心，一起见证2025全球总决赛半决赛。今晚胜出队伍将挺进决赛，与 KT 共同来争夺全球总决赛的桂冠。上海，让我们用热烈的欢呼，有请来自 LCK 赛区的 T1， 以及来自 LPL 赛区的 TES。
25. We're here at the penultimate series of the entire competition to see who gets the right to face KT Rolster in the finals in Chengdu next week. Will it be the back-to-back reigning world champions, Korea's T1, or will it be the last remaining Chinese team here in Shanghai with the LPL's top esports? I'm Captain Flowers, here with Dagda and Vedius, as we all find the answer to that question here today.
Top esports trying to do what no other LPL team has done before them, whereas T1 trying to do what no other team in the world has achieved in getting that three-peat for the title, and it sits there, all eyes on the trophy.
Expectations are that T1 will continue their legacy, but that is what makes Top Esports such a scary opponent. We've already seen at this year's World Championship that expectations can be defied, and today that responsibility falls on the shoulders of Top Esports as they go up against the Titans of T1.
And a Titan was already slain yesterday in the first semi-final. Gen.G, heavy favorites in the eyes of a lot of fans, a lot of analysts going into this tournament, taken down by KT, who have just shot meteorically straight to the finals. And now T1, who have been to finals so many times, versus Top Esports, who have never made it to the World Finals before. It could be another upset, or it could just be another stepping stone for the reigning champs.
Yeah, it's an absolutely insane world that we live in. Either curses are broken for Top Esports and KT, or potentially T1 to go on to show that they are just the greatest team, even the greatest version of SKT and T1 that has ever existed.
It is quite the timeline that we find ourselves in, gentlemen, and all I can ask for is that we see some fantastic League of Legends on the Rift. It's not been the easiest journey for T1.
No.
They've had their struggles, they've had their setbacks, and AL very much did push them to their very limits. And we'll see if Top Esports can do the same thing. If nothing else, their brothers in AL showed them the weaknesses in T1. They showed them opportunities that they can look to try and exploit. And my eyes draw towards that man in the jungle, Kanavi. The man that just made fun of Skumon in the jungle. The man that I feel that continues to run the rift for Top Esports. And the man that can build those leads needed to get the edge over T1.
And I feel like when you've been looking at the LPL all year, it's been Kanavi, it's been Tarzan, the top two junglers there in that league. T1 obviously having worked their way through Tarzan and Anyone's Legend, like you're talking about just 2 days ago in that quarterfinal. And now we'll see if Kanavi can do what Tarzan could not. We're into our first champ select. It's T1 on the blue side, top on the red. Yone and Yunara banned out by T1, as Faker Zazir will not be allowed to enter the rift from top.
I am curious if they want to let that Orianna through, though, because what we saw from Top Esports against G2 was a willingness to give across the Orianna and open up Cream to play things like the Akali, the things he made his name on back when he started in OMG. But we'll have to see what that game plan is going to be, because when we look at the Anyone's Legend series, it was constantly taking Orianna and Azir away from T1.
The Poppy increases the value of things like Ambessa, Wukong, Rakan, and that Akali pick that Dagda was talking about. T1, how will they shift their focus? Because with the Yone ban and the Yunara, Sion comes to attention, and immediately it's going to be banned away by T1. So that first pick now looking to be the Wukong. T1 want to get their hands on it, a very powerful engaged tool. But the question is, will Top Esports allow them to have it? Rumble may very well be the ban on the side of Top Esports if something like the Ambessa is something that they're eyeing up.
Yeah, I think it's very telling, essentially, what this last ban is going to be. So the Bard from Keria taken away once more. This was another staple ban we saw from Anyone's Legend. But it does say, hey, go on, take that Orianna. We're going to try and take the Akali here for Cream and answer with our own style in Top Esports.
And you can see their 100% presence in draft throughout this tournament. A powerful pick for Top Esports to let through, but at bare minimum, they're going to buy themselves control over that Wukong here with it.
Absolutely. Wukong plus Akali could be an incredibly viable combination, and it's going to be locked in immediately. We've seen this once before, and they're going to secure it for themselves. Owner will respond with the Xin of his own, a big comfort pick for him, and another comfort for T1 as the Varus is secured for Gumayusi.
This has been such an insane pick for Gumayusi in this tournament. He has consistently got big leads in the lane on this champion and been a menace when it comes towards team fights.
I have to imagine that the Ambessa will now be higher in priority. Top Esports going for a lot of dive threat, but maybe they want some poke of their own. They would be a little bit AP heavy, but still, with the assassination with the backline threat of Akali plus Ziggs, instead they move towards the Sivir. Still, a very effective engage combo, good wave clear, a little short range, which means that that poke Varus in the late game, can they get on top of him will be the question for Top Esports.
I think it was a good read, Vedi. Like, they probably want to try and go for the Ambessa, but I imagine it is going to be banned away here on these next couple rotations by T1. And if you end up going towards that Ziggs, so much AP damage, you can find yourself lacking in opportunities in that top side of the map. So the Renekton ban?
It's an Ambessa.
It's an Ambessa angle, yeah.
Yeah, I imagine that T1 will read the play and they'll look to remove it themselves. Now, champions like Alistair, Top Esports need to be very aware of it. It could be a great engage tool, a potential follow-up on the side of T1, good frontline, and also just a great answer into the Sivir as well. Will Top Esports consider it ban-worthy, or do instead they have something in the top lane they want to get rid of?
My other thought is also something like a Braum ban, because 369 would love to go towards something like an Ornn. It sets up beautifully for the Wukong, the Akali. You've got two very mobile carries on the opposite side, and I think that may be something that they want to look for, but I am curious if T1 are going to read it, take the Braum for carrying that bottom side, and then enable Doran on his own sort of engaged champion.
Okay, we do have that Alistar banned away. The Nico going to be the ban instead. Earlier on in the day, Azael talking about the creativity of Keria's Nico against Anyone's Legend, but they don't want to allow that to go over to Hong instead.
I feel Rakan might have a lot of value as a potential in the event of a Braum on the other side. It seems, though, that 369 wants to play more on the defensive route. They want to give Hong full counter pick, full flexibility, and what he's playing into Keria. We know that Keria is just a master of these range supports, and the possibility of Varus Karma, Varus Renata, Varus in any combination of range support could be a very deadly lane to deal with.
It does mean that they have to rely on Doran to be that engage tool, so I guess we'll see if Ornn is going to be taken here in that top side just to provide that tool. Mordekaiser are actually going to be taken into the K'Sante here and make sure, and there's that Rakan you were talking about. So T1 heavily reliant on Keria on this Rakan to be that main engage tool now.
Problem is, how do you then deal with the Rakan yourself? Because by removing away the Alistair, is Leona or Rel potentially just the safest thing you could go for? Have a little bit more engaged to facilitate and work with the Wukong. Right now, they're considering the Nautilus having that single target lockdown to put more threat on the backline of Orianna and Varus.
Yeah, I do like the Nautilus in this sort of situation. Okay, they're going to swap to the Karma instead. I wasn't sure if they wanted to go for an Enchanter in either the Lulu or the Karma to try and get that wave push, counteract what has been that speciality of Gumayusi on this Varus. And it looks like that's the call. Just go for lane dominance in this bottom side. Make sure Jackeylove and Hung can fight toe-to-toe against the T1 bot lane and try and snowball into effective dragon control and objective team fights.
Yeah, between the On the Hunt for Jackeylove, the Mantra E there for Hong, there's a lot of AoE speed up available on the side of Top Esports, but the only real true engage is still going to be Kanavi on the Wukong.
And this is why I think the Mordekaiser pick is so valuable, because we've seen before, I forget which game it was, the Wukong engages, Mord ults the Wukong, and now that engage disappears. And so Top Esports, they're going to have to be very careful with how they approach these fights, because I don't think they're going to have as easy a backline threat, given that they are so reliant on Kanavi to be that engaged.
I mean, it's a similar story for the Akali, right? Akali jumps in, Mord ults her, you're not killing the Mordekaiser in the Death Realm, so I think you've got multiple strong targets here for Doran. Nice pick on the Mordekaiser. We'll have to see now how much value you can get, or are you going to be able to just play through this pushing bot lane into early dragons, into objective control, and try and set up for a strong Top Esports early game?
Top Esports coming out with the Orianna being given over on first pick. I feel like if you lose this first game, there's going to be a lot of criticism towards that choice, not only with the popularity of the champion so far at the tournament, but with Faker's legacy on it here too. But we'll see if Top's plan works out as we're on to the Rift here for game number 1 in this semi-final best of 5 to see who gets to punch their ticket to Chengdu. Runes up on your screen right now. Immediately I'm noticing it's Summoner Spellbook for Karia's Rakan. However, the Comet over on the side of Top Esports for Hong shows me they really, really want to play for that lane control.
Absolutely. Top Esports is very much playing for that bot lane control that Dagda was talking about in draft, wanting to leverage their push to maybe get early rotations to set up for the grubs, or maybe even set their sights on that early dragon in the early game. But before we even dive even deeper into that, I want to look back a little bit at last year, because these two teams are no strangers to one another, and we've got a little bit more time to talk about it, because last year it was a one-sided affair. T1 made fun of Top Esports in convincing fashion with a 3-0 performance, snuffing their hopes out and eliminating them before Top Esports could find any momentum in the playoffs.
Yeah, and even when you looked at that game 1, it kind of looked like Top Esports had gotten off to a decent start, but T1 just came alive and were able to dominate the rest of the series throughout. Now, obviously, slightly different roster set up in there. You had Mako and you still had TN that were on the team, and now it has been shifting over towards the Top Esports that aren't really playing towards that same style. They are much more patient. They are more about control. They are more about trying to set up around objectives. And I think it has given a new identity to this squad, but you are still going up against a T1 that it seems like at Worlds just come alive every single time.
And I want to go back to something that you were talking about during the draft, when we saw the Rakan drafted there for Keria, the importance that is being placed on his shoulders as the main engage here for T1 in this Game 1 draft. I feel like in the Swiss stage, we didn't see the best League of Legends from Keria that we've seen many times before. It didn't seem like he was executing on the same level that we had seen in the past. But then in the series against Anyone's Legend, just a couple of days ago in the quarterfinals, that series that, like you mentioned, Vedius, went the full distance, best of 5. It was Keria who had a ton of clutch plays.
Absolutely. And it's nice to see him really return to the form that so many fans have in terms of their expectations for him as a player. And it's always difficult as a T1 player because of the sheer amount of pressure that sits on your shoulders. But it feels like that whenever they return to this environment, to this stage, it's almost like their comfort zone because all of the players come alive.
Yeah, I actually was watching an old owner interview earlier today that actually he talked about how it felt like it doesn't feel like a different stage when they go to Worlds. They've been here so regularly and have played under these pressure situations so effectively that it kind of just is water off a duck's back for them at this stage. And that's why I think you're starting to see when they get into quarterfinals, the like creativity coming back for players like Keria, Faker popping off in some of these plays. Again, it feels like they have kind of just settled back into what could be another LCK day for them.
And as we jump back onto the Rift, there's a cool little tidbit for us on the caster desk, because Clayton, so many years ago, you had the iconic call of Faker's Shockwave finding them all, and now we have Orianna and Rakan in the hands of T1, potentially giving you another opportunity.
Look, if I have the time, I'll make sure I credit Rakan as well, right next to the Orianna. But if they engage in a split second, I might have to pick and choose yet again. We'll see if T1 can find that team fight magic here in the semifinals in 2025. On our screens right now, this bottom lane, we've already talked about it, but again, I feel like control, priority of this lane for Top Esports is so huge.
And I think that's why you're seeing Kanavi starting this top side of the map, right? He knows that he's going to be able to shift his way down towards this bottom side. With the push on bot lane, should be able to get crab for himself. And one of the things that is kind of the shaping a lot of the full clears that we're seeing from the junglers is the fact that if you double full clear, you basically set up your camp, so then you spawn that dragon in 5 minutes after you finished all your camps, and you can waddle in for an extra little bit of experience there. So I think that's where Top Esports are going to be trying to put that focus again, and already you can see Gumayushi taking a lot of hurt from Top Esports on the bottom side.
Bot lane 2 versus 2 working very much as the way Top Esports had intended. We know, though, that in terms of mid and top T1 should have priority in those lanes. Both junglers pathing towards that bot side of the map. Keeping my eyes on Kanavi as he is actually moving into the river. Is he looking for an early gank towards the middle lane? No, it looks like his eyes are set on stealing away those Raptors, but now he will be a camp behind. Oner securing that advantage. Kanavi wants to play through the pressure of his bot lane, though, to steal away camps in the enemy jungle.
Exactly. He wants to utilize this advantage in the 2v2 to really make Oner sweat a little bit here on that first clear. It's not just the double first clear approach, as Kanavi, Jackie, and Hong are moving all the way towards that red buff. They want to try to steal it away, but the steal does not work. It's Oner with the secure over the wall.
Crazy smite from Oner, and the ward never got cleared. I was actually keeping my eyes on Faker for a lot of that because I thought maybe he would even try and roam over, but Oner just does it himself.
Beautiful steal comes through from Oner as he's able to secure, well, pretty much all of his camps. He's very happy with how things have played out. He's now going to path back up towards the top side of the map to secure that Scuttle Crab. And his clear is largely unaffected. And now the consequences of this for Kanavi is that he is very far behind on the clear. A nice recall is going to come through soon from Oner. He's going to get a nice first base off as the bot lane forced to use the heal as the bot laners continue to battle it out.
Exactly. T1 just going to defensively activate that summoner spell to back away as Top Esports wanted to continue going aggressive with it. Now a nice grand entrance from Keria to keep the pressure on Jackeylove. Hong steps forward. More damage into Keria here as both sides take a little bit of a beating, but it's Hong, the lowest HP overall. Very fortunate to sidestep that piercing arrow with 3 blight stacks. That one would have taken him down to probably below 100 HP.
Yeah, it just feels like the first round in this bottom lane, though. Both AD carries running that teleport, so should be able to reset and TP back in. Guma going to look to stop Jackeylove there. Having that level up as well means he can put a little bit more pressure down, but still, TP's back in. It should all go back to even Steven in this bottom lane.
So, Kanavi did skip his wolves in order to get back and start re-clearing those respawn camps. He's now going to be a little bit behind as Doran getting a little low.
Yeah, Doran in some danger here. Pops the shield. 369, keeping the pressure on this Mordekaiser. Wanted to go back in for some footwork with a third in Tofo strike, but the knockback not colliding with Doran means he's safe for now.
The early base from 369, securing that double null magic mantle, giving him the additional magic resistance to win out on these trades. Doran should be perfectly fine in this situation. He just has to be cautious at the threat of a dive. But Mordekaiser, not the easiest champ in the world to dive. No level 6 yet for 369.
Kanavi was spotted, though, on the ward, and everyone's moving back up towards his top side.
All right, they're moving around trying to see if maybe they can set it up, but they have to know if 369 was close to level 6, so was Doran, and trying to dive Mordekaiser underneath the turret with the ulti is never going to work.
Now, T1 are punishing the early pathing from Kanavi. Remember that because he had to skip his bot side camps to try and steal, he's now late to these Raptors. Keria is here with Oner, and Kanavi has no idea.
Yeah, Keria jumps forward, however, the grand entrance does not hit Kanavi. Oner still continuing to try to contest here for this Raptor camp. Does secure the large Raptor, but now over the wall. It's Cream ready to go in. He wants the kill, and Oner's the focus. Cream goes forward, but he cannot find enough damage just yet. It's Kanavi grabbing first blood here for Top Esports.
Massive plays from Top Esports. The double flash over Faker's shockwave means they find none of them, and it's Top Esports that are able to get a kill on the back end.
And this is so important for Kanavi because the jungle advantage was very quickly getting out of control. Oner was contesting these camps. He was leveraging the tempo advantage that he had, but finding that kill put a stop to that. The Raptors are stolen away. And Kanavi can now pick up the Scuttle Crab as well. Nice advantage gained for Top Esports.
Yeah, and as you were saying, Betty, like, they spotted Kanavi on that top ward, and then, so this would have been the play from T1, but the double flash over Faker means that Owner is completely caught out. Cream having that level 6, able to follow him over the wall, and it's T1 that, in theory, played smarter on the map, but it's TES who are outplaying them in the moment.
Exactly. Kanavi on his initial invade trying to steal away the red. He doesn't get the payoff that he wants. And like you pointed out, Betty, is then it feels like he's behind in the pace of the game. But then the invade from T1 to try to punish that lack of pace ultimately ends up being the greater error, as it's Top Esports first on the board here with that first kill. And Kanavi has the gold lead in the jungle since he was the one who got the kill credit for it.
Now track these lane assignments. Already Top Esports looking to move their pieces around the board. Cream has been sent to the bot side of the map with that Hextech alternator. It looks like he's going to be matching up against Doran. Not a very favorable matchup for the Akali, but this early on she does still have some great trading potential. The main goal though for Top Esports is to move their Sivir into the mid lane. Help you guarantee that lane prio to make it easier to contest the grubs that are spawning in 20 seconds. But with the swap up to top, T1 will still have access to this objective.
I did think the Top Esports would try and play more for Dragons though. I feel like their team fight is better set up around, hey, let's try and stack some of these early objectives and then being able to draw T1 in towards these fights and maybe look for some of these cross maps. But with the early lead that they managed to pick up on towards Cream and Kanavi, and that level 6 just being hit for Kanavi, maybe they feel like they can actually fight as Cream starts to move.
Yeah, Cream going to make that early rotation up towards these Void Grubs. And because Doran's teleport timer is pretty desynced from 369, there's still half the cooldown remaining on that teleport. The Mordekaiser is steadfastly down there in the bottom lane, and Top Esports have already taken the first grub.
But now, Top Esports, they can have 369 TP to bottom lane if they want. He's going to go back to base. They did sacrifice a wave, and Doran will secure a plate. But ultimately now, Jackeylove and Hung can go and match up against the bot lane 2 versus 2. Akali can return to mid, and just a beautiful sequence of play there from Top Esports to allow them to secure an uncontested grubs.
This is where exactly you kind of want to be as Top Esports. Again, although the early game went a little awry, being able to now find these moments to get Void Grubs when, in theory, Cream should have more impact on the side lane is going to be really, really nice. You can continue to keep up pressure through 369 as well in the Mordekaiser matchup. And Jackeylove is just going to wave clear. So I think now on T1 side, my eyes are going to be on Owner to see how he can get involved in some of these lanes to start to get some advantages for their side laners to neutralize the potential 1-3-1 from Top Esports.
I'd love to see Top Esports invest a little bit of time towards that mid lane as well. Faker going for the Rod of Ages build means that he's looking to stack those defensive items to help survive the Akali burst. As Owner sets his sights on the bot side of the map, I'd be surprised if they really try to force anything. It looks like, yeah, he's more interested in the enemy jungle camps. He wants to take things away from Kanavi. He should be able to secure this Grump and walk away scot-free.
We mentioned earlier how Mordekaiser is a difficult champion to dive there in the top lane. Kazante is in the same caliber. You've got to have the guarantee that you're going to get the kill because of how easy it is to turn around. So they'll happily just take away the Gromp, get a little bit of extra money. It's another reset to pick up the Caulfield's Warhammer there for Owner. As you can see, he is still slightly ahead in terms of pace, at least with the jungle treats there, just 1 or 2 stacks ahead of Kanavi on the Wukong, who still does maintain about the same gold lead that he did after we saw him secure the first blood earlier.
So just a fun fact about this mid lane matchup, Faker maxing the Q over the W. Sometimes we see that shift between Orianas, but given how low he is on mana, having that extra Q damage really helps facilitate him put that poke down onto the Akali in those shorter trades. He is very low on mana though. This could be a window for Top Esports to try and force that dragon, but with the resets coming out from Kanavi, I don't expect that to actually come through. Components very close to completing that first item, and as I say that, Jackeylove will complete the Essence Reaver, TP back into mid, and now Top Esports will have control over the mid wave.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to have the Wukong finish off his Triforce here, but still a little bit away. And that it looks like what Top Esports are trying to play for is that big spike that you can get off of some of these first item completions. And for T1, it's case, okay, we're still waiting on that Rod of Ages for Faker. We still don't have that first item for Gumayushi. But Top Esports still in the area, just trying to clear out vision and use these pushing waves to establish themselves further in River so they can set up for that play in a couple of minutes.
Okay, 369 on the Kazante does have the Spectre's Cowl alongside the Negatron Cloak, so plenty of magic resistance building towards that first big item still, considering both enemy solo laners are AP champions. That always feels very good when you go for an early Kaenic Rookern to be able to endure so much of that hurt, be able to have much better, shorter trades. As top esports continue just aggroing the Dragon, you saw them initially do that just to have it hit Carrier a little bit, but now that even he's not here, they're continuing to try to look for the chance to take this. It's really not an early first Drake though, Vedius, which is, again, kind of what we were looking at when we see the Sivir Karma.
The reset just came through for Faker though, and he doesn't finish the Rod of Ages. He actually ends up buying a tier instead of trying to finish it off. So I think for T1, they're not really interested in going for this Dragon right now. They're more than happy to let it scale. And I think with that Crab take, Kanavi should have just ticked over towards his Triforce. So unless T1 can find a pick before this Dragon happens, it looks like top esports should be able to come back onto the map and try and force the play there.
I don't know when the latest first Dragon of Worlds was, but we're definitely heading towards that number. Top esports in a bit of an odd position here as they kind of fight with Faker for that mid control. Varus has to be careful, but he's pretty safe to push out that bot wave. Now it is T1's turn to take control over the bot side river. Fantastic vision control means they will be the team to start this objective off, and top esports don't really have much room to fight this as of right now.
Yeah, you can see piercing arrow, plenty of damage from that Varus here onto the neutral objective. It is secured by Ownerman T1 as Hong wants to step forward. Carry with a battle dance to disengage from the tether means that top can't get any sort of a punish, and T1 just kind of walk away with a Drake for free.
Yeah, nice timing window there by T1. So they knew that Kanavi had reset for the for his Triforce, but Kanavi stopping off for his Wolves on the way forward meant that they actually had a little bit more time to try and push through. So they move in towards mid, force Jackeylove to give up priority on that mid wave. They already had Jackeylove pushing in bot wave, so able to use that small window where top esports weren't on the map to their advantage.
Very much feels like that we're heading in the direction of a slower teamfight orientated game. And I think that based on how both teams kind of find that success, when I especially look back at that AL series, a lot of the conversation was about how AL need to pick up the pace of the game, because if you just let T1 run the map, that's where they seem to feel like the most comfortable. But top esports, they are the slower, more controlled LPL style of team. They like to play the map, and that's just kind of a given when you've got Kanavi as a jungler. That very methodical type of approach to the game, very much playing towards his strengths, and he's scaling up nicely on the Wukong now with the Trinity Force completed. He's looking to hover around top. He's cautious of that Rakan roam, and he will secure the Krugs as well. So overall, right now, 14 minutes in, nothing too major. Nobody with a... Oh, hang on.
Yep, as soon as you say it, Vedius, it's Cream going in after Faker. Perfect execution coming through. Faker low. Cream bursts him down to 20%, but he cannot threaten a lethal situation. Still 45 seconds left until the Rift Herald spawns. Means Faker is going to have time to go back to the fountain, heal up, make a purchase, and then return to the topside river if T1 wants to fight.
The top esports really wanted to try and force the play, but with carrying that top side, the exhaust went down onto Kanavi to prevent him from going in, and also then having the charm to prevent anyone from following up meant that top esports knew it had kind of fallen apart, and they all back away.
You also see the value of Rod of Ages into this matchup as well. That extra HP really making the difference, but Cream simply giving us a taster of what Faker can expect in the side lane, and why it's very important for Carrier to be in the area when that Orianna is playing into the Akali specifically. Hung working with Jackeylove as the heal. Oh, that's a chunk of damage.
Yeah, there you go. There's the summoner spell forced out. Gumayushi using the chains of corruption, making Hong flash away or face certain doom.
And right as Rift Herald spawns as well, so Owner immediately books it over towards the objective to start that one up. And look at the map. Top esports not in a position to contest here again.
I feel like this is a pretty rare situation where we've seen all three of the first neutral objectives in the game go utterly uncontested. The Void Grubs earned by top esports because of their smart macro play, then T1 getting the Drake for free off the recall from Kanavi, and now Gumayushi's chain of corruption forcing Hong back and forcing that flash to be spent means that T1 gets Rift Herald for free. We're just seeing all of these objectives be handed over.
I think T1, just with really good lane assignments, they know that Faker, as long as Cream doesn't have his ultimate, can easily gain control over that wave. Also, the fact that they got that nice trade and Hung, as Dr. was saying, that is the go signal. That is your window of opportunity to force the objective. So just great overall awareness from T1. as they gain a small lead for themselves.
And it's also really difficult for top esports to try and punch back. You try and go, hey, we're going to dive bot lane, and you're like, hey, that's a Mordekaiser. That's just not going to end well.
Yeah.
And you want to try and trade on that top side, but Faker's already pushed in, and you already have owner on that side of the map. So top esports kind of just clear out the waves and do nothing. They are looking for top here. Faker still has flash.
Yeah, Faker gonna drop that shockwave to try to defend himself here as Cream again trying to play as aggressively as possible on this Akali. Last time he had the ulti, he spent it on Faker. This time he does the same. Redemption coming in to try to keep Faker alive. Kanavi has to back away after the Redemption, heals the enemy mid laner. Keria supporting Faker from a long way away, stops the dive.
Top esports now starting to get a little bit more active on the map, setting their sights onto Faker, but he weathers the pressure well. T1 there to support him when he needs it. Doran now taking over the top wave as he looks to chip away at that top tower.
Exactly, and he's got his Riftmaker online finally. In that head-to-head, he went straight for the tier 2 boots with the plated steel caps at the very beginning, and it meant that he's actually been pretty far behind in terms of that first big item completion, and that's why 369 had all the control that he did in the head-to-head. Now Doran, with that first big item, feeling a lot stronger.
Yeah, the plan from top esports continuously has been attack the other solo laner and Faker, but they really want to get that flash out. But every time Faker's just been happy to trade the shockwave, and now coming in towards this next dragon, Faker still has that flash, which makes him not a target for this Kanavi and Cream combo. And it's just been that patience with him on the potential flash that has netted nothing for top esports.
We're also seeing the rotation begin from Doran. He's navigating his way around the vision that top esports have set up on the top side of the map, which means that should he find a flank, it means that top esports won't be aware of his position as they get closer to the dragon spawning, which, for the record, should be happening in mere moments. T1 with great position around that neutral objective again, and considering how slow they want to play this game, T1 have been very happy with how things have been panning out.
Yep, I have been informed that this is a TES pause, but I do not know exactly any more of the details as to why the pause had to happen. Hopefully, it's nothing extreme and we can get back into the game as soon as possible, because we haven't really had a big fight yet in this game. I feel like most games of League of Legends, at the latest, the Rift Herald is where you're really going to get to see a larger investment towards a team fight from both sides. But again, with this time around, with the way that Gumayushi forced the flash out from Hong, that just didn't happen. And considering this is still only Drake number 2, I don't even know if we're going to get it here.
I don't think top esports are in a position to really fight for this, though. You've just used Kanavi's ultimate on that top side of the map. That's still on cooldown. The Orianna ultimate is about to come back up, and Cream does have his available, but lacking that key engage tool for Kanavi really makes this fight difficult, and I think T1 are aware of it. They've already established themselves in that bot side river, and for top esports, you have to find a way to try and break that bunker, but it's just so difficult with no Kanavi ult.
I like that. If this was game 5, this would be very tense. But because we're in game 1, it feels like that the tension hasn't quite set in. But we are ultimately building towards what could be the first fight and the defining fight of the entire game. If a single team can find a large enough lead in this fight that we're hoping to see soon, it could very well be the key that snowballs either comp.
I mean, I feel like we see this a lot, and I feel like we see it a lot particularly in game 1s, where teams are just testing the waters a little bit, getting a feel for what the other side's going to do, and you do get this very slow-paced type of a game that only has 1 or 2 big fights like you're talking about, but that just means the pressure is that much higher. If you're saying it's not going to be a 10-fight game, well, then you better play the one fight correctly.
I also think that both teams feel very locked in. You can see how aware they are of the movements on the map, but as we've entered this mid-game, I do think that T1's lane assignments have just been that much better. They've leveraged the strength of Orianna into Akali while also not isolating the Orianna. We've seen how Cream and Kanavi have tried not once, but twice to get that flash out that Dagda was saying earlier, and both times that effort has been thwarted simply due to the presence of Keria with Doran TPing up up towards the fight. And so because of that, they've played with their pressure well, they've controlled the neutral objectives, and the moment that they did punish Top Esports, they immediately converted it into a Herald.
And it's even the play off your screen that they're playing well on as well. When you have that TP from Doran to the top side to say Faker, Owner just goes down and collects that bot wave and prevents 369 being able to take the bot tower and get any more out of the play for themselves as well. So they're constantly keeping all these moves in check, and I think that's where Top Esports are struggling to really break them open. And as we start to move forward into this, again, you've got no ultimate for the Wukong. If now does T1 just get another objective on the back of it, they start to get towards those feats. That's when it starts to become a little bit more difficult for TES again.
And Doran, to me, will be the difference maker in these fights. Because as we've discussed at length, the engage is quite not as clear-cut as we would traditionally see with something like an Ornn or a Rel or a Nautilus, because Kanavi will need to not only find a flank, but he will be the key threat on the backline that Cream will be relying on to find access on the Akali. Meanwhile, Jackeylove and Hung will be working together to deal with whatever threat is coming their way, and Faker's Shockwave that's going to be ever-present in the team fight. So who does Doran remove in these fights to turn it into a 4v4 for T1? But now we're back in the action, we're back on the Dragon, and given the positioning, Top Esports, it's not easy for them to contest.
Ignore the bottom of your screens. Kanavi does not have his ultimate up and available. It is still a little bit away, which is why Top Esports there didn't really want to try and contest. So it looks like for T1 again, another Dragon. Now the feats, they're in a great spot.
And it's exactly what we were talking about back in the draft. Kanavi is the engage. Yes, you get the extra speed, you get the extra lane control when you draft this Karma for the support position, but it means that if Kanavi doesn't have the ultimate, the way into the fight is so much more difficult. But it looks like Top Esports are going to go for some push onto the bot lane tier 1.
Okay, so Top Esports with a little bit of pressure for themselves. But again, we talked about it earlier. See how T1 is doing a great job of protecting Faker. They refuse to leave this Orianna isolated because that is the key target that Top Esports is trying to find momentum off of.
But it's the only target you can really go for, right? Guma just sits in mid waves, shoots down the wave in one go, and is like, all right, well, you're not getting anywhere close to me. Doran is just able to get rid of all of the Avengers apart from one. So for Top Esports, it's really difficult to find plays anywhere on the map. And it's this slow burn now of T1 just starting to collect dragons, keeping the peace, and they're slowly getting to whittle away at some of these turrets as well. So for Top Esports, it needs to be better map play. Getting to the objective first, forcing T1 to actually try and brute force their way in with a lack of vision that opens up these flank opportunities for Kanavi and for Cream.
And Top Esports' map play did earn them those first 3 grubs of the game that we saw back at the start of things, but the 3 neutral objectives since then have gone the way of T1. They have the feat of monster slaying. We're still only 1 kill in 19.5 minutes into the game, so that feat not claimed by either side, but you do see some damage onto the turrets in the side lanes for both squads, so that means also, after we have one of these big fights, it's probably first turret right after.
The funny thing to me is that we're only at 16 petals for the whole game. 14, my mistake. 8 plus, well, now 7 as the Otacon 10 seconds away.
All right, Otacon topside in this one. There's also still the Rift Herald in the inventory of Owner. That could also be used to force down one of these tier 1 turrets if that's the play they want to make. You can see T1. They're not going to start up the Otacon immediately, but they do still have Keria up in this area just to make sure that they're maintaining vision control. He's going to go ahead and take his recall. Again, Faker swaps back into the matchup with Cream. Doran versus 369 just continues being what this top lane battle always is.
Yeah, if the Otacon is started up, you need to be a little careful. There's a nice ward, actually. Okay, that's a very big circle. In behind the blue buff of T1. And that is something that 369 can look to try and create a flank opportunity for himself. But TP now towards the mid lane, trying to keep this mid tower safe.
Exactly. They summoned up the Herald. The Herald should guarantee that you're going to be able to at least get the first turret. But it looks like summon up in mid lane, it cannot guarantee that much damage. But they don't just want to give that away for free to Kanavi being able to jump in there onto that tier 1 with the Wukong, with the Trinity Force. So Herald charges, takes off about 2/3 of that turret HP. 2 minutes on our next Drake. Otacon is alive. Turrets, low health, legitimately everywhere. And that bottom lane head-to-head, you saw 369 again winning out in that as he has Jack's show now fully completed. Still only 1 major item for Doran.
Jackeylove, based on what I can tell, is about 200 to 150 gold off that Infinity Edge that he is working towards. A nice item spike as Cream goes in.
Here we go once more. Faker trying to protect himself from Cream. As the perfect execution, once again, just not enough damage to really pose the threat, and Faker doesn't even have to spin Shockwave on that one.
But now TP could be used by Faker to try and get back in. Actually, Shockwave now used.
There it is, right on top of Keria, who comes in to reinforce the T1 mid laner. The quickness comes out, and the flash forced from Cream.
He's still got protection here, though, in the top side. Kanavi having to clone over the wall to make sure that he can try and escape, but T1 putting pressure on this top side, and you've got that TP from Faker to come back out onto this top side with Kanavi on low HP and Akali with no ult. Maybe that's an Adacon area that T1 are looking at.
T1 are controlling this Akali so well. They are giving such few opportunities, and Cream, I think his goal there was simply a chunk. Get a nice trade, make it easier for him to gain control, threaten that top side, but who's there first? It's Keria, it's Owner. The supporting staff of T1 are there to protect their GOAT of the mid lane, and they make sure that they put Cream back in his place. Nice advantage being built for Faker. Top Esports trying to get some vision around Adacon, but T1 is making it very difficult.
It's Doran versus Cream in the bottom lane right now, but the important thing to make note of is that Doran has his teleport available, and Cream still does not have his. The perfect execution is back off of cooldown, but Cream's flash obviously still a long way away here as well. Keria loses half HP to a quick burst from Kanavi, but now Owner's ready to lead the charge here with the Crescent Guard. Kanavi, Jackeylove, and Hong all backing away from this one as T1 gets the better side of the trade.
So Top Esports tried to punish the positioning of Keria, but it's they who is punished on the other side, and now T1 want to secure the first tower of the game.
They're going to try to put enough damage into this, but again, they don't have any Void Grubs whatsoever, so they can't just force it down with a couple of autos.
They forced Top Esports out of River, though, and Dragon is available, and that was really what they wanted. So now Top Esports going to have to try and break into this, but it looks like it's gone.
Yeah, T1 just going to go ahead and secure themselves Soul Point on a Cloud Soul Rift. Another uncontested neutral objective.
I mean, immaculate control coming through from T1. Top Esports on the other side might be able to secure first tower for themselves, as 369 will be left alone to hit away on this tower. So hey, a feat of warfare contributed. Now the question is, gentlemen, will in this game we reach 3 kills? Because so far, 24 minutes in, we're at, I don't even know what the division is, but I'm telling you the kills per minute is awfully low.
It's not looking particularly hot.
It's not great.
Yeah. Whoever got the pickups for Kanavi First Blood, though, at least somewhat happy with things. Maybe not with how this game state is going. As T1, once again, it's just been these little pockets that they're playing off of. Keria getting nearly caught out there in that top side, but they turn around damage from Owner, setting up them for the push. And this is kind of why some of these picks are so strong from the comfort. Like Owner loves playing the Xin Zhao because he knows how hyper aggressive he can go. Burning that ultimate just to force Top Esports back. Gumayushi on this Varus has been such a staple for T1, and now en masse they group mid, and 369's overextended.
Yeah, 369 trying to jump in there as the turret falls. Owner, audacious charge right in after him, finds a little bit of damage. Jackeylove also at about 60% HP here. So T1, they get what they came for, and they don't want to stick around for anything more.
And all the while, I want to turn your attention to that man in the middle lane, Faker. The Rod of Ages fully stacked. His Seraphs has been completed, and this man is about to tick over to level 16 on the Orianna as well. The highest level in the game. He is in a prime position to be the carry for T1 here in Game 1. Unless Top Esports no, they're not going to do anything about it right now.
Yeah, and it feels like this game is a bit of a metaphor for how the Top Esports and the LPL has played against them. They keep trying to take them down, but unable to do so. But now Top Esports forcing this Adacon. The TP has come out. They're going to start to slowly back away.
Yeah, they get the Summoner spell, but that's all they're going to take for now. Kanavi's the only one continuing to tank the Otacon because they do not want the debuff on everybody else on Top Esports. Doran making his way up through the river. 369 with a third in Tofo strike primed. Top Esports looking for something here. It's Doran jumped on immediately. However, he's into the death realm. He's going after Kanavi. He wants to take out the enemy jungler. Top Esports, they're trying to get him away. But as soon as the death realm ends, Keria's quickness begins. And Top Esports have already lost their jungler. They're about to lose their top laner. 369 wants to go all out, but Gumayushi and T1 are all in. Hong trying to escape as Cream's got some fancy acrobatics, but he's not getting anything. T1 out-team fight him, and they'll take the Otacon.
Kanavi is given no position, no purchase, as Doran isolates him in the Death Realm, and after taking out the jungler, taking out 369, T1 will turn their attention towards the Baron.
Bettius, you talked about the value of one fight, and this is the fight they want.
And it's because Doran just rips Kanavi out of existence that makes it so easy. That Engage is gone. Jackeylove and Hong can't actually get into the fight because they're zoned by Gumayusi and Faker, and now Faker has caught Cream.
Faker going in after this Akali that's been trying to put the pressure on him all game long. And once more, it's Cream, the one who loses his flash just to survive.
T1 played with great patience, they leveraged their range, and again, this pick from Mordekaiser doing very much as we expected. The question was, would he remove Kanavi or Cream, but that decision was made so simple for him the moment he saw that Wukong try to engage. And Flowers, you highlighted in the fight, to add insult to injury, the second Kanavi comes out of the fight, there's the quickness, charming him up, isolating him to allow for Faker to secure the kill.
You just sit on top of the little Christmas light and press R as soon as it returns to a champion. Well played there from T1, now over 2,000 gold ahead. And my friends, we have 45 seconds left until the Cloud Soul spawns. Hong in some danger here, has to flash away. Carrier ready to go after him again with the quickness. Feet of Warfare finally claimed at 27 minutes by T1. And they are just barreling down the bottom lane. Gumayusi gonna get healed up by Redemption, but no! Cream's already got the assassination. He dies in response as Kanavi continues spinning forward, looking for a little bit more. The ricochets from Jackeylove. He needs more, but he can't find it. A double kill to Faker as owner finishes Jackie, and only 369 is left. T1 again win the fight with 10 seconds left until the Cloud Soul spawns.
Top Esports threw the Hail Mary, and it was so close to looking good, but intercepted at the last second. And now it's T1 with members on the map that will secure the Cloud Soul, although there's a little bit of a spot here.
Yeah, looks like Hong might have made a mistake, stepping forward to try to help his top laner. Doran brings Hong into the Death Realm instead. You will not be able to catch back up to the Karma to guarantee the kill, but now it's Faker joining up with his top laner for the extra damage into 369. The Cassante tries to get away, and he outpaces the Claw to do so, but the entire time it was owner on the Drake. There's your MasterCard priceless moment. 29 minutes into the game, T1 got all 4 Drakes uncontested.
It got a little scary for T1 on the bot side of the map. It felt like that Jackeylove had really woken up in this game, but Kanavi once again isolated. Shockwave.
Shockwave from Faker to burst down the enemy jungler. Kanavi has never found his angles in this game after that first blood. Cream of the Wall wants something. They'll give him a burial. Gumayusi with the kill. 9-3 for T1. Everything Top Esports tried early was completely canceled, and T1 is showing them how to make plays now. 369 just trying to escape some of the damage. He's the only one alive for a game that had 1 kill at 24 minutes. T1 are about to end it 30 minutes in. Respawns are not even here. 369's the only one left, and they want to try to grab the ace on the way out. T1, it was a slow burn, but it's Top Esports being put to the fire. T1 just gonna pad the stats and take game 1.
It's a buy one, get 3 free at the end as they marched in 1 by 1, and Top Esports happy to take them to the slaughter.
What a game number 1, from 1 kill to game over in 6 minutes. Analysts, T1's looking fierce.
T1 saying 1 fight is all you get, and if you don't show up, we're gonna take your base, Maurits.
And I am used to LCK games, and now I'm sometimes like, I'm pushing back on the narrative, like, guys, it's not that. This game really was slow, you know, and it was setting up for a big explosion down the line, but it wasn't because of a lack of attempts, because I think there was actually a lot of tries here from TES to make something happen, but T1 played their game, and they did it flawlessly.
And Isaac, you get this, and if you're in a game and you check someone's elo before you do, and it's your enemy mid laner, and you want to take him down, that's what TES tried over and over and over, but they forgot they have a map to look at.
Yeah, the problem is they were going after Faker again and again and again, and every time they tried, they clearly, the game plan was counter pick mid, leave Ori open, and then put all your resources into snowballing cream to the point where you can win through sides. But every time they went for Faker, nothing happened. They couldn't even force his flash, and meanwhile, you're losing Dragon. Meanwhile, you're losing jungle camps. Meanwhile, you're losing the whole game.
Yeah, I think it came down to even smaller bits than that, right? Because as they're trying to get this, it actually opens up mid, sets up a play where Gumayushi actually blows Hong's flash before the Rift Herald, and it's these tiny things that made such a huge difference because the game was so slow, because there were so few fights, and TES just stacked 4 Drakes completely uncontested.
They did, and then of course, T1 did, and of course TES had to try and get that Drake, but had to try and get really any objective. And as we take a look at this HyperX Reflex replay, one fight is indeed all they got. Now I understand that they feel under pressure, Mao, but they misplayed this completely.
Yeah, I don't. Why are we going in on the level 15 Mordekaiser with 2 items? You're just not going to be able to kill him before he owes anyone. There are comps that have enough CC that can hunt it to 0. This is not one of them. And Doran just walks it off.
And the big thing for me is when we talk about what TES are good at domestically, it is around these objective fight setups, right? So because the game was so close, to see them fumble here is absolutely massive because you really do only get one chance, especially with the game coming down to such slight back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. They had let them get 3 straight dragons, then you flip an Otacon, you lose to the Otacon, they take that, they take Baron, the game is essentially over, and no one had Feet of Warfare yet. The score is 2-1.
That's crazy.
And the game was done, right? Like, that is it. If you're going to play that passive and not force team fights, not contest objectives, you only get one chance.
T1 Baron!
Yeah, the T1 Baron, but it's not. It doesn't even feel like a T1 Baron as... Yeah, the 2 main characters of this game were Faker and Carrier. Faker tanked so many ganks, and if he was in a little 100% kill participation, absolutely crazy on the arena, and if he was even a little bit in danger, you know who was there? Redemption number 1, Redemption number 2, and Carry on the backup.
He did. I mean, it's almost, we're like, oh, are we needing a Faker full screen graphic again? Yes! Yes!
I mean, it's so funny to me because there's been so much talk. Every time I see T1 win a game, I think back to the MCOY series and they're like, wait, you can't give him Azir, of course he's going to win with that. Wait, you can't give him Ryze, of course he's going to win with that. I go on Twitter after this game, wait, kick him Ori, of course he's going to win with that. What can you give him?
It's crazy. And I think for the side of TES, I think when we look back to yesterday and the upset that happened in terms of KT taking that series over Genji, it started where a game where they had rebuttals for everything that Genji threw at them. And I think that's where I'm a little bit disappointed in the lack of fight that I saw from TES.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lack of fight, but their plan was to try to get this Akali ahead, right? And they spent so much time trying to do that, it didn't work. That's what this composition was supposed to do. Their execution was not good around it, so now it's back to the drawing board.
What I'm hearing is more threats. You can't try and run this comp, and definitely not if you're trying to stymie Faker. Follow the 5 rules. That is Zale said in the pre-show. We'll see if Top Esports can fight back right after this.
Top Esports looking for something here. It's Doran jumped on immediately. However, he's into the death realm. He's going after Kanavi. He wants to take out the enemy jungler. Top Esports, they're trying to get him away. But as soon as the death realm ends, Carrier's quickness begins. And Top Esports have already lost their jungler. They're about to lose their top laner. 369 wants to go all out, but Gumayushi and T1 are all in. Hong trying to escape as Cream's got some fancy acrobatics, but he's not getting anything. T1 out-team fight him, and they'll take the Otacon.
An update is required. Financial system updating. System updated.
We will dance together.
The future of money is here. Feels good.
Red Bull gives you wings.
So slow.
I told you I was done with basic browsers. Your setup wants Opera GX, and you're holding it back. Upgrade to the gaming browser. Download Opera GX.
The greatest players in the world are here.
They can just burn this one down. Oh my god, he'll hold it by 9!
You are going to see them like you've never seen them before.
Rocked at will as the Arcane Storm doing so much work, and Gen G, they are just going to ace them!
누구 만나도 이길 수 있다는 자신감 정도로만 생각하고 있습니다.
Gen G, the EWC winners! Kindred locking down the Drake is now Doran. Decent position, double break down my walls, but I won't rise again. Cause I stand tall in my environment. How could I ever close my eyes as they silence sins? They try to take me down with their violence. Oh, they go back in! Bishop flashes in, and down goes Knight!
Every moment of your journey, crystal clear. Landscapes, absolutely stunning. Close-ups, sharp and full of vibe. Group shots, packed with detail. Zoom in on one face, still flawless. Colors so real, every scene, every smile, unforgettable. Oppo Find X9 series, Hasselblad telephoto, zoom into detail.
I got this old thing and the bill from the store where I got it. Figured you could beat it with a better deal on one of these big boys.
Man, it doesn't work that way.
Guess you're not as cool as Verizon.
Bring in your AT&T or T-Mobile bill for a better deal.
You don't know that?
Red Bull gives you wings.
We have a new mode for you that we're calling ARAM Mayhem.
It's ARAM, but with augments. It combines all the fun augment-fueled variations of Arena with 5v5 ARAM gameplay.
We want every champion to feel special and get to explore some combinations and fantasies that they don't normally get outside of Arena.
It'll be live with patch 2521, so look forward to some mayhem coming to the bridge soon.
No evil will pass. Son of the gun, never miss whipping bricks. I need more bags. All gas, no one can stop me but me. Too bad. All fire, rewired. Go higher, go harder. You wanna. No one can even come close, nah. Counting up money, collecting bodies like Tada. And chicken trying to catch it to me like, ha ha. Better stop playing with your one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to World Semifinals 2025. It's the last series before we head to Chengdu and the finals next weekend. KT Rolster is already waiting, and either T1 or Top Esports will earn the right to meet them there. Game number one was slow for a very long time. 1 kill at 24 minutes, and then T1 ended it 30 minutes in.
Yeah, you talk about waiting. I'm still waiting for Top Esports to show up in this series. They just kind of sat there, did nothing, and let T1 have their pick of the litter. They ended up blowing a bunch of ultimates early, right before key objectives, and T1 were happy to scoop up the objectives and slow roll out the game.
The question is, gentlemen, are you Game 1 Andes? Do you believe that
you're
Game
right.
1, that's true, and I would say that I am not.
Okay, that's
I do
good
not
to know.
believe that a Game 1 defines a series, and I'm confident in our, as we jump into draft powered by Omen and HyperX, that we're going to be seeing something different. As Top Esports move over towards the blue side, we expected the Bard Band to come through, with Talia taken away alongside it. I imagine this Rise pick rises in priority, forgive the pun, for Top Esports, because this year alone, 84% win rate for that man in the mid lane, Cream on the champion.
Yeah, I'm curious kind of what happens with picks like the Kiana as well. We saw in Game 1, AL versus T1, they were happy to pick the Pantheon into it, and it actually did a really good job of shutting down Tarzan on what has been a very strong pick over in the LPL. So I think that's probably where they're going to be eyeing up once again. It means that Top Esports can't immediately go for this Kiana pick off the back.
All right, Talia, Bard, Poppy banned out by Top. T1 getting rid of Azir, Yone, and Yunara means that Rise that you mentioned, Vedius, that 84% win rate for Cream is available, but also the LPL Kiana is a bit of a favorite here. I'm curious what they're going to prioritize more highly.
I'm surprised that they feel the need to first pick it, because Ona's like not much of a Kiana player. It's not been as successful.
He's played 2, 1-1, lost 1.
Exactly. So it's not, and there we are. Okay, so the shift towards the Rise makes a lot more sense to me. Like, there are certain things that you're not allowed to do, and giving Faker Rise is one of them. Okay. He's got a music video or two of him portrayed as the champion. And so now with the Talia taken away as well, champions like Cassio and the Anivia do rise in priority as answers, but T1 don't have to prioritize that mid lane pick. Instead, they could look at things like the Corki to give them some agency towards the bot side of the map. Nico, another big support pick that also T1 is looking to eye up.
Yeah, I think they end up taking, probably as you're saying, the AD carry pick here and leaving Owner for 3, just because if that Kiana comes through, you want to be able to go towards the Pantheon, unless they just consider the Pantheon strong enough to just immediately first pick. But I personally think it's not really in that position with the way the meta has shifted, so I imagine it'd just be something like the Corki, or at least a strong AD carry, and leaving that pick till later.
I mean, you talk about how the Pantheon was a good response into the Kiana, but overall at Worlds so far this year, Pantheon has not been a super successful pick. And it looks like for the side of T1, you want to say that Cream's Rise is a pick to be feared. I feel like Faker Galio is a pick that's got more than a little bit of a reputation behind it.
But the thing is, you can also use this as a flex, because Rumble also very high priority at the moment too. So the fact that you're kind of cornering 369 here, saying you can't go towards that Rumble because we can always shift the Galio top. We have a bunch of picks that can still go in towards this Rise in the mid lane, and it means that now, as we get to see Top Esports, I imagine, lock in their jungle, you keep that flexibility in the draft for T1.
Yeah, I do have to imagine that the Kiana is going to come through from Top Esports unless they want to make some sort of shift. The other thing for T1 is they could forego jungle, and I was just about to say lock Ambessa in for themselves if you choose to go for the Kiana. So Top Esports taking this one away, I think does make a lot of sense, because already T1 have drafted for themselves a lot of dive, a lot of team fight, and they would love just a little bit more backline threat. So Ambessa would have been perfect in this position. Top Esports take it away.
Yeah, it does mean, though, you have an option to take something like the Renekton here for Doran on this next rotation and then match. It does mean jungle pool is probably going to be pinched quite substantially. More than likely, AD carry pool is another option to be pinched. So it's just a case of, for T1, what do they prioritize more highly? It looks like it will be the top lane, but it's Camille Galio coming in for T1.
This is a classic. You want to talk about threat onto the back line? How about hook shot, Hex Tech ultimatum, Hero's entrance. That is one of the all-time wombo combos, and it's so obnoxious to play against.
It also means that picks like that Pantheon we're talking about for Owner are actually just really good because you can protect both of these 1-3-1 side laners, add into that potential global population, and make sure that then as T1 move forward, they can keep up their fights very effectively. You can see these dive threats already being prioritized by top esports with the Vi taken away.
70% win rate on the Camille all time for Doran across 27 games. Definitely no stranger to the champion, absolutely. And there is that Kiana with the Alistair taken away on the side of T1 with Vi looking to be, I mean, that Vi makes a ton of sense from the side of top esports. Question is, do they want to look to get rid of something like the Pantheon? Do they consider it a threat? There's also the possibility of the Jarvan, another great engaged champion that top esports could consider looking to remove.
Exactly. Galio combo with Camille is pretty well known. Galio's combo with Jarvan is also very, very well known. But no, the Caitlyn going to be the ban away instead. Caitlyn Nico can be a very oppressive bottom lane 2v2, so they want to remove the possibility there.
I think you're still happy to go with something like the Kai'Sa though for Gumayusi, so no stress in the grand scheme of things. And T1 gonna go back and forth between the two junglers we were mentioning, Pantheon and J4. I like the Pantheon personally, but it does feel like that was their answer to the Kiana. So maybe I saw the Nocturne eyeing that up as well to just be like, we can play 4 sides and keep that Pantheon for another kind of pressure point in the draft as an answer to the Kiana.
All right, we're going to go for the Jarvan. There it is, locked in. Honestly, pretty impressive that Jarvan now sits at 10 and 10 in the tournament after starting off 0 and 8 early on back in the very first ages of Swiss. So now we'll see, does he go to a winning score after this one? As on the top esports side, we still need to see support. We still need to see jungle.
I have to imagine that you're either considering a Braum if you want something a little bit more defensive, but I think against Nico that is very difficult. Leona would provide them with a little bit more engage, and it's also something that we've seen Hong brought out a bunch of times. Now, the Nami was something we saw coming through from CFO here at this tournament. And Nami Corki is not a traditional lane, but it does give you a little bit of agency, some disengaged tools. But against a lot of dive, it's very squishy.
Yeah, I was actually expecting maybe a Renata to come through for that hostile takeover and the bailout to keep someone safe. But on the upside, Gumayusi going to fall back towards the Kai'Sa here. It works so well with the rest of the composition. And even the fact that you have the Nico helps to enable you a certain extent in that bottom side of the map and keep you safe because the Nico poke. But you are up against Corki Nami, which is a very abusive matchup. So we keep our eyes on this bottom side to see if this Corki can pick up a couple of wins because it's 0-6 at Worlds at the moment and would love to try and bully out this Kai'Sa.
This Kai'Sa for Gumayusi is such a meaningful pick because of the history he has on the champion. The last performance we saw on him, he absolutely popped off and earned redemption on the champion, and now T1 fans have to feel like that they can trust him to pilot it, especially in these tense environments. Dive is the name of the game for T1. If game 1 was slow and controlled, game 2 is about ruthless and lethal aggression as they set their sights on the carry of top esports that will have to try and survive the backline threat that is heading their way.
And you mentioned Gumayusi's performance on that Kai'Sa. Now correct me if I'm wrong, Vedius, I do believe that was also the game against Hope where Hope was piloting this very Corki, and there at one point was over a 6,000 individual gold difference between those marksman players.
Absolutely. And we'll see if he can look to have a very similar performance, because for top esports, after losing game 1 in very convincing fashion in favor of T1, they're going to have to show us a lot more in game 2 to show us that they can go toe-to-toe with the reigning world champs.
All right, we're on to the Rift for game number 2 in this best of 5. Remember, log into your Riot account right now on lolesports.com and watch Worlds live to earn some exclusive Worlds emotes, icons, capsules, all kinds of cool stuff. But for top esports, the only thing they want to earn is a tied series. After an underwhelming first game, it's T1 who are feeling in control coming into this second one. Both of our supports this time, no Summoner's spellbooks. Gentlemen, it's about the lane.
Their goal in game 1 was to put pressure onto Faker, and he survived that pressure very comfortably. This time around, top esports, they do have some side lane threat, they have some good collapses, but ultimately, like, I'm curious as to how they're going to navigate their way through the early game, because I think, like, Mid lane is not an easy lane to play for. That Camille is probably your easiest avenue of attack, but you've also drafted yourself a Corki Nami lane that I imagine you want to try and invest some resources into, given that you are running a more of an aggressive bot lane duo. And you can already see Hung and Jackeylove posturing far up in the bottom lane, looking for an early trade.
Yeah, I think the way you want to try and play this bottom lane is to use the slowing ability of the Nami to just make things really uncomfortable for Keria. And if you can end up enabling that to close that gap for the Trundle, Keria's going to have to invest a flash, you have the pillar for after, and that's the way you're going to look to try and chase down this bottom side of the map. If T1 are able to alleviate a lot of that pressure by having Jarvan match or making sure that you're able to keep some of these early summoner spells, which are already double burned on the bottom side, that's where that T1 can try and keep themselves safe.
Heals spent by both supports. The barrier there from Gumayusi. Everybody just wanting to get spicy here at level 1 in the bottom lane. Worth noting, junglers are starting on opposite sides here in this one too.
In game 1, it really was Faker's story as he really just survived the pressure. Jackeylove though looking to make game 2 about him. Level 2 spikes up. Forced to use the barrier as the tower shot comes through though. Gets punished for that aggression.
But he does get the flash out of Keria, and that could be a playmaking opportunity.
But it's playmaking from T1. Owner and Faker already starting to move through. Owner wants to slip in behind. Hasn't gone towards his top side. They should be pinging out the ward. You can see it there going, where the hell's the Jarvan? So Top Esports back away in the bottom side. They know something's
ping
up.
The brush.
Okay, Owner still hanging around for now. Kanavi, though, has secured his red buff. Jarvan does not win against Trundle in those 1v1s, so Owner's going to walk away.
Great understanding from Top Esports there about the jungle timings from the Jarvan. You can see they had a ward that just died on the Raptors on the top side. Owner never showed, so know that something has to be up. And now it's kind of a reverse of game 1, where it was Top Esports to go for the invade and start to fall a little bit behind on tempo when it comes to the jungle. And now it's actually Kanavi who has that advantage.
And now this leaves the bot lane very exposed. An opportunity for a gank. Gumayusi has to invest the ward, and he's going to do that just now. Good awareness from T1, investing that early vision to spot out where Kanavi was. Owner will see him earlier on the red buff. And now this bot lane should feel safer with that vision to push out that wave underneath the tower as their jungler is on the top side of the map.
Yeah, there's so much vision on this bottom side. Oh, he flashed over the wall. Kanavi flashed over to avoid the vision and is now going to come in onto the bot lane.
This could be a big payoff for Top Esports. Gumayusi and Keria packing away, though. So Kanavi, despite trying to get creative there with the angle for the flash, he's spotted.
Get that ward in the river does end up spotting him out. The commitment of the flash ends up not paying off. I think Jackeylove and Hong just gave the play away as they tried to move up, set up for the corresponding gank. Kanavi looking now.
Okay, we'll see if Keria can get away from this one. Remember, the flash already spent earlier, and he is not afraid. Nice tangle barb there into the blooming burst means it's actually Jackeylove that takes the worst of the attempt.
You can see they've already swapped their lanes now as well, but Gumayusi move up to the top side. The interrupt, not quite there. Doran trying to get that ward in the brush to give him that extended hook shot. But now, again, just already we're seeing how much pressure Top Esports want to try and put onto this game. They couldn't really find much in the last one, but so many plays already invested into that bot lane.
Baker just trying to hang around here, grab his last little bit of minions. Colossal Smash will pick up that one. As up in the top side, Gumayusi just continues farming on this Kai'Sa. Does have a nice little lead over Jackeylove on the Corki, but there is some extra minions for Jackie to pick up.
Yeah, it should even up as this wave ends up crashing through and Top Esports end up matching on this top side of the map. But already you can see the game plan from T1 is we want to avoid this matchup. It is so difficult to play against Scream. Gets the lockdown, can have in the area, but they don't want to go for it. Again, like Jackeylove and Hong should be able to punish in this matchup. So as long as Gumayusi and Keria are able to push in a wave and then reset, they should be good. But here we go, top lane again.
Okay, we can see real Gumayusi and fake Gumayusi both hanging around, and there's just the power of this Neeko, man. Whether this champion is engaging from stealth for a team fight, whether it's checking vision with the clone, whether it's tanking turrets with the cannon, it provides so much unique utility that no other support does.
I just love that both teams are doing an excellent job of reading their enemy junglers' movements. They're making it very difficult for both Owner and Kanavi to find early ganks. I'm impressed that Owner has actually managed to accrue a CS lead, given that early on, sacking one side of the map really should have cost him a lot, but he's been able to bounce back to great efficiency.
It's because you end up seeing that Kanavi used all that time to gank bot lane, attempted to gank top, whereas bot camps had spawned. So now Kanavi behind 2 camps as he starts to move into this bottom side of the map. But that was a big load of damage on towards Jackeylove on the top side, and that's exactly where Owner is.
Yeah, Owner level 6, Cataclysm at the ready. Gumayusi and Keria are both injured, however. We'll see if they want to keep looking for a little bit more, because Faker is also here with a hero's entrance. The Jarvan Galio Wombo combo could be exactly what T1 wants. There are no teleports ready on the top esports side to try to reinforce this. Hong's going to be in some danger. Hero's entrance is first blood over to Faker, and it's 2-0 T1.
Clean execution from T1 as they shut down the bottom lane. No room for escape whatsoever. Kanavi spotted that entire time on the Dragon, makes the play look smooth as T1 go 2-0 up.
Cream even invested the Realm Warp to try and get up there as well, try and follow Faker, but was just that little bit too far behind. T1 having a masterclass in these early games of tracking the enemy jungler and making sure they just cannot do anything. You can see here, as we get in towards the play, it's very late roam from Cream, and top esports already know they're in trouble, but they try to send anyway. Jackeylove even investing the flash at the end here to try and escape, but there's so much damage in the early stage of the game. The tanking is spectacular, and there's nothing top esports can do to cover.
Very well done by T1 as they take an early lead here in game 2. Top esports, the last hope of the LPL. We're hoping to see more from them in this game, but given the composition that T1 have drafted, like, I'm still struggling to see that kind of avenue of attack.
Okay.
Especially as we get closer to these big fights that we're expecting. T1's composition all very much wants to do the same thing, and I feel like the top esports are kind of forced to just hit the target that's in front of them, but there will be many targets in front of them, and they will be coming from every which way, especially with a Camille and a Kai'Sa at their back looking to navigate their way through whatever angle they have available to them.
Well, the angle for top esports right now is neutral objectives. They did get the first Drake after the play made from T1 earlier there underneath that tier 1 turret topside. And now, once more, it's going to be top esports claiming all 3 grubs, just like in game number 1. So the kills and the gold may belong to T1, but it's top esports keeping themselves relevant with control over objectives.
Yeah, I mean, T1 just don't have the ultimates they needed. Faker not having his, Owners is just only back off cooldown, and looking at Cream now in the mid lane.
Yeah, Cream gets cataclysmed, forced to flash immediately, does not want to lose any extra health on that one. There's no way you don't die if you stay inside that terrain. So Cream now vulnerable on the rise.
You know, Flowers, as a Skarner main, you're very familiar with junglers expecting attacks as a result of their impact in the game. And in the past, it used to be the QSS tax when playing against Skarner. It's the flash tax when playing against the Jarvan.
That's expensive tax.
Oh, it certainly is, and that's why he is so successful in the latter half of the World Championship. It's so easy for him to walk into a lane, throw that ultimate down as Jackeylove looks for a fight against Faker.
I love that from Jackie. He goes in for the Valkyrie to block the Justice Punch from Faker. Now Faker's trying to get away here on the Galio, shielded Duran for a little bit of extra durability, but no! Jackeylove gets his shot.
Faker wasn't ready, but here we go!
369, public execution, wants the attempt onto Doran, who uses the Hextech ultimatum defensively back against him. Keria comes in for the Pop Blossom, but he only finds Kanavi. Now Owner's showing up, but Cream reinforces here for the Realm Warp. Gumayusi ready to back up his team. Both sides commit a lot, and both sides decide it's not worth anymore.
Signs of life from top esports, and it's Jackeylove that reignites that fire. Skirmish on the bot side ultimately fizzles because top esports realize that they're at a numbers disadvantage. By backing away from the play, they know that Jackeylove can secure some plates on the top side of the map and get some gold back for top esports.
Again, just punishing the fact that Faker had no flash, and this Nami slow is so painful to deal with for anyone that tries to waddle away. So nice job by top esports to find something back, and also to escape on that bottom side, because that looked dicey for a second.
Oh, it absolutely did. Dragon now in 1 minute and 20 seconds. These first items are nearing their completion. I imagine across the board, both sides will reach those spikes ahead of that Dragon spawn. I wonder if top esports will look for a fight, but I mean, it's a bit of a creative way to find a pick because I expected things like the Rise ultimate, as we saw being used towards the bot side of the map. That's the way in which I envision top esports finding picks on the map, creating that sudden numbers advantage that T1 can't necessarily respond to, especially when the Galio is so far away. And this is another thing that T1 have to be mindful of. As long as Faker is sitting on the top side of the map, he can't really impact the bot side with his ultimate. So he does now have the TP available. He can look to join the fray, but 369 really going toe-to-toe with Doran in the 1v1.
With this Dragon now in 35 seconds, I am curious what this potential fight is going to look like as well, because you've got no flash on Keria, which is so crucial for finding these big pop blossoms, but also how much value can 369 get out of this Ambessa? Because in theory, T1 are all jumping in on top of you, so you're not really going to find an isolated target. Even if he ends up jumping on towards Gumayushi, Gumayushi just ults to the other side of the fight and keeps himself safe. So I really am curious how top esports are going to get value from this Ambessa throughout these next few engages.
All right, 5 seconds on that Drake. Kanavi takes a little bit of damage, but nothing that he's going to be extremely worried about here on the Trundle. Owner throws the flag into the pit, but now here in the bottom lane, 369 and Doran continue scrapping as we continue to see 369 coming out on top. Trinity Force completed for Jackeylove means a massive point of power there for the Corki, but it doesn't look like he's arriving to Drake here in time just yet. Keria wants to get away. Nice use of the pillar there. Takes Keria low, and now Owner has to flash out. Flash bubble attempt. Not going to get anything back there from Hong. He misses that as Gumayushi now has to flash away too. It's a ton of damage coming in as Keria is already dead. Jackeylove killed in response. It's Fetal Warfare claimed by T1, but Doran's got to try to continue getting away. 369 looking for an angle. Possibly. He goes to the public execution. 369! Damn, that's fine. He finds Gumayushi at the very edge of the fight to make it 3 kills to 3.
Jackeylove drives the fight forward as he flashes into range of T1, but that gave top esports the confidence to chase down the escaping T1 members. 369 finds another kill, equalizes the kill score as T1 walks away with the Dragons.
Sometimes Jackeylove flashing in can be a little spooky, but that was exactly what they needed there. But now 369, flashless, no ultimates, keeping this wave out from the tower.
Yeah, he wants to stop the minions from arriving, but Keria's got the Pop Blossom, and it's a dog pile top lane. Vengeance for Gumayushi as T1 takes out the Ambessa, but the entire time, Cream getting the opportunity to put these Void Grubs to work in the bottom lane.
They just keep going for these picks, and here, Keria steps too far forward, hoping that he can get that Pop Blossom, but the follow-up from Hong means that everyone on T1 has to run away. And Jackeylove, knowing that he's got his chance here, flashing forward, hoping to finish off some of these low health bars, not expecting Doran to come in. But this entire time, 369 is trying to walk up from this bottom side of the map, and eventually spots out 369 and manages to, flash it onto Gumayushi and sets up the play.
Beautiful follow-up from 369. The consequence of all of this, though, is that Doran has been left isolated in the top lane. He will secure the first tower, and it looks to be the feats of strength as well for T1.
There it is, yep, exactly right before the Tier 1 turret could have faced its own potential doom on the T1 side. I'm always impressed when a team that loses all 3 Void Grubs still manages to secure the first turret of the game for themselves. This is a 14-minute feats of strength versus the 28 minutes from last game as Owner goes in for the Cataclysm onto Jackeylove. Doran now ready with a Hextech ultimatum, and here's the hero's entrance. Jackeylove first to die as Doran's got to try to find his way back out. Owner jumps in with the EQ combo, but Kanavi's ready to take a bite out of him. The Troll King leads the charge as Doran gets a nice Hextech sweep for a little bit more HP. T1's not done yet as Keria still looking maybe for a root here, but T1 are just going to take their kill, disengage. As now it is the turret dying in the top side on the T1 side, thanks to 369. Faker with the Justice Punch away from the Nami bubble.
They just walk Jackeylove down. They overextend trying to look for the tower, but Doran doesn't end up, or just moves down towards mid. As we get to see here, just Jackeylove, oh my god, that damage on the Gumayushi was insane.
That was crazy. So Jackeylove gets a kill in the mid lane, and then T1 look to punish. And I mean, you're seeing the combo right here. There is no room for remorse as Jackeylove is instantly shut down Top Esports tried to get something back, but there's little available for them. We have to go back to live because the Herald is going to be secured, and the pace of this game is very different from game one.
Yeah, I think T1 actually sticking around there, getting that poke on from Cream, actually removed a lot of their pressure over towards the Rift Herald. I thought it'd be pick in to move towards that objective, but instead, Top Esports managing to pick that one up. And as you say, Betty, this game much quicker. This tower in the mid is going to fall.
Here we go, Rift Herald sum it up. It's Jackeylove ready to drive it straight into the tier 1 turret. Honestly, they don't even really need it, but it will still lose most of the HP. Shouldn't be able to get a second charge. No, it will not. In a game number 1, where Top Esports secured 3 grubs into every single other neutral objective going T1's way, almost entirely uncontested, it's Top Esports that are now tied in Drakes here in the second game, but have secured the Herald. They've secured the grubs. They seem to be much more eager to fight with T1 in this game.
T1's composition very much operates similarly to a shotgun, right? It's got a lot of power on that initial pull of the trigger, but the longer the fight goes, the more the threat starts to fall off. Now, of course, Camille in the late game, once she gets closer to those like 3 completed items, she's always going to be that late game threat. But in these 2-item mark, I do feel that if Top Esports can survive that initial burst in the extended trade, there are definitely ways for them to turn the fights in their favor.
And you talk about the 2-item spike, Vedius, and items that have to stack in League of Legends are naturally going to have a pretty high power point once they're fully stacked, and you've got Ryze and Corki on the side of Top Esports, stacking towards a Seraph's Next, stacking towards that Muramana with the Manamune already fully completed there for Jackeylove, as the 3rd Drake of the game has spawned. It is an Ocean. We're on Ocean Rift this time, but a TP is coming in from T1. Top Esports committing to the objective. Gumayushi's on the flank, but he's got to be a little bit careful. 369 wants to mark him. Carrier goes in with a bad pop blossom, but Jackeylove is already down. Top Esports have lost their marksman. Doran, he's the only one low, but it won't matter. Realm Warp, it gets Top Esports away to safety. Gumayushi still after Hong, so it's objective over to T1. They steal the Drake, they take the kill, they blast Jackeylove.
Jackeylove doesn't get to play the game. Everyone is focusing down every single time. And once that's done, Top Esports have to run for the hills. There's nowhere safe for them.
Betty, as you said, this comp works like a shotgun, and Jackeylove didn't even get to hear him rack the shell. That was just instant deletion at the start of the fight, and Top Esports had to scatter.
And hopefully we get the replay, because you'll see how difficult it is for Jackie. Keep your eyes on the Corki. In the midst of all of that, he's being attacked from 3 angles. Doran on the left, Carry on the right, and Gumayushi from behind. 3 angles of attack. This AD carry is given no opportunity to get away to safety.
And this feels like a classic T1 fight, where they surround you on all sides and they just slowly encroach and make your life miserable. T1, a well-oiled machine on that play, and once again, we started to see light from Top Esports, but it's T1 who are starting to pull away with the game.
How do you stay behind your front line when the battle lines are every single direction around you? Jackeylove focused down, that Corki that we were talking about being scary with the Trinity Force, stacking towards the Muramana. It doesn't matter how farmed you are if you're dead at the very start of the fight. T1 now with the lead in. Drake's here too. 45 seconds until Otacon spawns. This time around, he's down here on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, and also in the rest of these fights, there is a thought process of, well, you know, Jackeylove can die because we have other carries, right? Trundle can deal some damage, and Bess is strong, Ryze is strong. But realistically, when you're playing so many short-range carries into things like Faker's Taunt, into Carrier, into Owner as well, it becomes so difficult to really get value from them. Now Top Esports looking to overload the bot lane to make something happen for them.
Oh yeah, there's no way for T1 to try to defend this one. 3 grubs and 4 players from top is more than enough to knock down the last 25% of that tower's health. So that means our gold is once again back to dead even. 20 minutes on the clock, and Otacon makes his way onto the rift with Top Esports having control over the bot side river.
And Faker's going to go back to base. He has the TP available. Top Esports going to force the issue. Owner has a flank angle from behind. 369 trying to mark him.
Yeah, Owner is wrapped all the way around on top of a control ward, so he knows he's not seen here. Still trying to be careful about this as Carrier and Doran also approaching towards this Otacon that is starting to lose some patience, down to about 2/3 HP. Cream back over in the mid lane. Top Esports backing away. Remember, they still have their tier 1 turret down here in the bottom lane, and it still has a lot of health.
Top Esports knows something is up. They cannot find owner, and they know that's an issue, but it's misses on the ult.
They wanted the public execution. They can't get Gumayusi. 3-man pop blossom from Peria, and Jackylove's dead again. This time, his friends might just go with them. Gumayusi needs a little bit more as Kanavi chases forward on Doran. The Trundle needs the kill, but he dies to the Cataclysm. Cream locked up by Faker. It's a Justice punch to the jaw, and Gumayusi knocks him out. Triple kill for the Kaisa as Hong's a fish out of water, and T1 get an ace for 2.
Top Esports try desperately to catch anyone on the side of T1, but once that misses, the Keria finds the play. The ulti connects onto 3, but their target is Jackeylove. He trades his life to take out the AD carry, and then it's cleanup for T1.
It does not feel like LPL's day. It doesn't really feel like their decade, to be perfectly honest. And it looks like Faker, as he continues to make plays with T1, they want to march towards another World Finals for themselves.
Just cool and collected backstage as well. It's business as usual for T1, up 3,000 gold, 25 petals. They've got the feats of warfare, they've got the Otacon, and the gold difference is just the blood of Top Esports being poured off the side of the graph.
Doran has found Cream.
Wants to go after this Rise. TP coming in from the side of Top Esports. T1 ready to respond with one of their own. Doran down to half HP. Owner wants a little bit more. The teleport is a little bit late to arrive from Faker, but it's still just in time. T1 send more men, and they get the double kill because of it.
They can run, they can hide, but Top Esports cannot escape the nightmare that is T1. It was a 2 versus 1 that turned into a 4 versus 2 as Faker's Onya's.
Faker walks right towards the brush, but he's got the reaction time. Top Esports wanted to find their moment. Carry is wrapping around from the side. He wants to cut off the escape. Pop Blossom on 2. Doran chasing after Hong as Jackeylove is dead again. And Doran cuts the enemy support down. Only Kanavi is alive to tell the tale, and T1's got a 5,000 gold lead.
Images of 2023 and Faker on this Galio must be in the heads of 369 and Kanavi, because they attack the side lane, they get caught. They attack the jungle, they get caught. And T1 look like they're about to take over once again.
Faker face checks, but the reaction speed, I mean, is still exquisite. Keria leveraging the clones as he often does, drawing that focus, allowing him to find an angle that Top Esports did not expect. Jackeylove, similar to what we've seen in this entire game, is locked down and shut out, and T1 are looking to go match point in this best of 5.
It has been complete domination from T1. Anyone's Legend pushed them to the brink, but Top Esports have yet to find any purchase in this series. And the question starts to become, well, what do you do? It has been comfort across the board for Top Esports in their drafts in Game 1 and Game 2, but it's T1 who've slowed the pace of the game down, played for the objectives, found moments to turn around the picks Top Esports try to make happen, and it just looks like there's nothing there for them.
And I'm glad you mentioned Anyone's Legend, Dagda, because Vedius, you mentioned back at the draft when we saw the Kaisa locked in. Never mind, we don't have time. Jackeylove going after Gumayusi, who sidesteps the public execution and kills Jackie anyway. 369 wants the damage, and Guma's finally going to be shut down. But Top Esports lose their top laner. Now Owner's putting the pressure onto Cream and Hong, making more space as Faker lets blow the winds of war, and they will blow down Top Esports. Nobody's left alive. They might have got Gumayusi, but it cost them everything.
That killer instinct from Gumayusi was insane. He uses the Kaisa ult to dodge the Ambessa and find the fight that will net T1 the Baron.
Simply magnificent team fighting from T1. We look back at the play, Guma becomes the target. The ulti response from Guma to sidestep the public execution. Fantastic mechanics as Guma lives to the very end to dish out as much damage as possible to help T1 win the fight.
Yeah, the question marks on Gumayushi's Kaisa kind of need to go to the wayside. This man is performing like an absolute hero for T1 in this.
And before the fight started, that's what I wanted to say. In the series against Anyone's Legend, his Kaisa had a 6,000 individual gold lead and just did circles around Hope's Corki. This time around, Jackie might have been off to a decent start, but T1 has shot that chopper down every single team fight, and it's Gumayushi again with an over 3,000 gold lead, 3 fully completed items, Seeker's arm guard unbroken, Jackeylove jumping forward, Keria has to flash away to keep himself alive, so at least that's one less playmaking tool for T1, but they're wearing purple with a 9,000 gold lead and Soul Point.
I love that Jackeylove, even though he's got a 275 scoreline, he's 3 levels behind Gumayushi, still does not hesitate to press W towards T1. He knows that they will not turn this game around idly by.
Corner over the wall, immediately goes into the Cataclysm. Jackeylove under pressure as Gumayushi pops the Seeker, staying alive for now, needs a little bit more damage. Keria swoops in behind him. Gumayushi's still alive. Top Esports is not. It's T1 with a full send.
T1 crashes down on Top Esports, and it will be the base that will be next to fall.
Game number 2 will end even more quickly than game number 1. They average nearly 1 kill per minute in this second matchup as 369 will get one back at the very, very end, but he dies on the steps to his own base. T1, match point.
Simply exceptional performance from T1. Let's get the breakdown from the analysts.
The breakdown is that it wasn't enough seemingly for Faker and T1 to have that record over the LPL. They also want to get the fastest records over beating the LPL at Worlds, because this is an unbelievable shellacking from the man you see walking behind us right now and his team, Emily.
Yeah, I mean, I want to call out Gumayushi on this Kaisa that we already had addressed on Jackeylove's skin, by the way.
Oh
if anyone ever caught that, I'm pretty sure it's IG Kaisa. Absolutely destroying, along with Keria on this Nico, which you'd already set up at the beginning of the day, Azale.
I just want to call out that we are witnessing greatness. They are one game away from their 4th straight World Finals. That is just unthinkable. In a game where you're competing against so many people from around the world, where there are so many talented players, to keep doing it again and again and again and again, it's just insane.
It's insane, and I want to call out specifically because we had such a quick conversion from Swiss stage into quarterfinals into semifinals that we saw that conversion in real time being so fast. I remember it was a mere few days ago where you said, I don't think they'll be that good in these playoffs, in these knockouts. I don't think I've seen enough. There's so many problems with their play. They are non-existent today.
Yeah, and then unfortunately for everyone, as always, that was then followed by, I can't see how they could do it again. And now I'm actually really happy to report that we are now
possibly
figuring out
do it again,
for the 4th time in a row. And what I'm really glad is we now know it's not time bound, it's stage bound, right? It's not the week off in between. It's just we get to quarterfinals. Lock in.
Let's go. Let's tell the story of this game a little bit, because I think so much will be said about Jackeylove, who at the beginning of this game finally was able to kill Faker, got a nice play out in the mid lane as well after, but it just made T1 set their sights on Jackeylove even more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this was a good punish. Faker had spent his flash on an earlier play, so they go top, they get the kill, they knock down 2 plates, but the problem is there's no protection for Jackie in this composition. Here he goes a bit too far, flashing in, didn't realize that Doran was there, but we saw time and time again, even when he was positioning well, he's just getting one shot.
Yeah, there were so many fights where it was obvious that T1's focus, even as this is 369 getting onto Guma, it didn't look super bad for TES. But as we already pointed out, Jackeylove was out of the fight, right? And T1 had such a laser focus on killing this Corki.
Safe, bro.
Before, and they, like you said, Azale, had no peel for him to keep him safe.
And this is where, like, I never like to make everything about the draft, because it's not. There's a massive portion of it is execution. But when I was watching the draft, I was just saying, Renata is insane here for TES. It's a full dive. They've shown that on the first 3, and we're going Nami to try to play for lane dominance. It's like, felt so unlikely that you're going to be able to blow open the game through lane to a point where it wouldn't just be objectively worse than having a Renata.
And meanwhile, you just had that fantastic play from Keria that you broke down in the pre-show, but here again on his Nico, every second counts, and thanks to the reliable Cisco network, they find them all. I mean, if it wasn't over by then, it definitely was over again, and it's that Atakan, man.
Yeah, as the attempt from TES here to find a catch, not quite working. And these engages from Keria have been insane. And then Guma dives in, Doran is right there, and obviously Faker comes in with the heroic entrance. And despite Keria going down early, Doran getting chomped, doesn't matter because the damage dealers are still alive.
And what you didn't see was the setup to this too, which I also really liked, right? Owner was waiting just before that tri-brush for a really long time. They were trying to set up, closing in on this TES team. And as you see the comparison, Jackeylove started off not bad in this specific game, but it was Gumayushi, again, on this Kaisa pick that previously, domestically, he's been a little bit shaky on, absolutely showing up once again on the world stage. 11, 3, and 8, nearly 1,000 damage a minute.
And as you said, on that IG Kaisa skin to add insult to injury. How does TES come back from this? It feels like they have not only the weight of the current games on their shoulders, but all of their fans in the LPL in the 12-year history that Faker has against the LPL.
I mean, a reverse sweep is so hard to pull off against T1. I will say something that gave me some confidence is it never felt like they gave up. They still kept looking for fights, even when they were massively behind. They need comfort. They need to have some early plays go their way and hopefully build a little confidence.
Oh, they have to show so much to stay in this one from the side of Top Esports, or it is T1 that head over to their 4th straight Grand Finals. Now, 2025 has been a big year in League of Legends. We welcomed players to Noxus and introduced Arena Mode, journeyed with Sinzao to Ionia for the Spirit Blossom Festival and to meet Yunara, and now, faced with the threat of impending darkness released by LeBlanc and Arakan, our heroic warriors will converge on the Temple of Twilight in a final battle of fate. Don't miss the narrative conclusion to 2025 when the season end cinematic premieres on November 7th at 8 a.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central European. Can't wait.
I'll be there no matter what.
Same.
Every new path seems to lead us closer to chaos.
Piltover was a lesson. Calamity is always approaching.
Perhaps we should focus on the opportunity that's washed up on our shores.
Besides, you have no host. Unforeseen turns are simply part of any path. Our next move must be bolder.
My name is Xinjiao, Seneschal of Demacia. This sapling bloomed in the royal gardens, where none should grow. Its presence gave me no peace. So after 30 years, I have returned to the lands of my birth, seeking answers.
You know the tale of the devoted shrine maiden, Xinjiao. You should hear the story behind it.
Leaderless and lost, war between the Darkin became inevitable. Ionia was just another battleground among many. Some of us prayed to the shrine spirits for deliverance, and that was when he came to us. His name was Zehen. When the war was over, we returned in victory. But something had changed in Zehen. He could feel his humanity ebbing away, and feared what he might eventually become capable of. And so he asked to be bound like the others.
If you crave freedom, Atakan, then tell me where the darkened weapon lies.
The First Lands.
Ionia is but a doorway.
I have done your bidding.
Yunara, what has happened?
He says he experienced a dark vision.
I saw Demacia in ruins.
Someone knows the truth. They mean to free Zehen.
greatest players in the world are here.
They can just burn this one down.
Oh my God,
forward by 9.
You are going to see them like you've never seen them before.
Propped it well as the Arcane Storm doing so much work, and Genji, they are just going to ace them.
누굴 만나도 이길 수 있다는 자신감 정도로만 생각하고 있습니다.
Genji, the EWC winners. Locking down the Drake is now Doran. Decent position, double
Break down my walls, but I won't rise again. Cause I stand tall in my environment. How could I ever close my eyes and stay silent since they try to take me down with their violence?
Oh, they go back in. Betcha flashes in, and down goes Knight.
All right, guys, I just landed in China. Let's go.
Play the local way, pay your way.
Have you ever seen the Great Wall at night?
Play the local way, pay your way.
Red Bull gives you wings.
When I was a player, if I was to like make a misplay, maybe it's my mouse, maybe it's my armrest, something feels wrong. If you were at home, you wouldn't do that.
The Infinite Precision Armrest is part of the largest Jackeylove on Stage standard initiative, aimed to bring your home or training room settings to the tournament stage.
이제 저뿐만 아니라 다른 선수들도 세팅을 더 원활하게 할 것 같고
가장 편안할 때 더 강력한 플레이가 자연스럽게 나옵니다.
Red Bull gives you wings.
안녕하세요. T1의 페이커입니다. 오늘 상해 8년 만에 와서 경기를 했는데 오랜만에 또 중국 팬분들과 같이 경기를 할 수 있어서 너무 기쁩니다. 항상 응원해 주셔서 감사합니다.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Worlds 2025 here in the semifinals. It's a best of 5 to determine who gets to face KT Rolster in the finals in Chengdu just a week from now. And T1 are up 2-0. The first game was a slow burn that was one-sided and very quick once it caused fire. The second game was much closer early on, but T1 found their mark in Jackeylove every team fight and again dominated Top Esports.
Yeah, and now that mountain seems higher, that river seems longer for Top Esports. Not only do they have to beat T1, but they have to do it in a reverse sweep if they hope to find an LPL team in finals as we get ourselves in towards draft.
I have to imagine that Kiana is going to be the priority for Top Esports. Get it in the hands of Kanavi, something that he is extremely confident on. His only loss on the champion this year was against G2, against the Mundo. Question is, will T1 draft the Mundo for themselves? Last game, Dagdi, you talked about how Pantheon has been an answer for them. But the question is, what could you even pair alongside that Pantheon in the mid lane? Champions like Victor really rise in priority in situations like this. But with the Scion open and the Trundle gone, it looks like that they will in fact lock that Pantheon in alongside that strong top side.
And now that becomes a little bit of an issue for, okay, what do we try and take to get through this Pantheon in that top side? Looks like Orin is going to be the answer for 369, but I still want to see something from that AD carry role that can do a bit of damage because, you know, your Sivir's gone, your Kai'Sa's gone. You need something that can be a bit more DPS heavy if you want to try and match this.
Okay, the Ornn locked in for the top lane, the Aurora there for the mid
he's
lane
gone
for
again.
Cream, and Faker now going to play the Mel again.
Can you reflect Ornol? You must be able to, right?
Yeah, I'm almost certain you can. And that is not going to be a fun time for Top Esports. This was brought out for the first time 2 days ago by Faker in their series against Anyone's Legend, and he liked it so much, he's like, I'll bring it out twice. The Ezreal now going to be taken away by T1.
And the Braum, I think, is a really good response as well. Wow, so you'll see T1 just get rid of ranged options because they want to have poke of their own. To think about something that could pair nicely alongside that, they could consider the Caitlyn for Gumayusi if they want a little bit more range. Jhin is also something they consider. However, Jhin into Ornn, not necessarily the strongest threat into that tank top side, but it would facilitate some of the poke direction that T1 is going for. Alternatively, Lucian could be a very powerful bot side, but with both Braum and Nami gone, that does lower the value of that AD carry.
All right, T1, let's see what it'll be with Ezreal, Ziggs, Alistar, and Braum band away in the second half. Both sides having those top sides fully drafted for our game number 3. I would assume the AD carry would be pick number 4 here for Gumayusi and T1.
Yeah, I think you can definitely go for Nash. Looks like it's going to be the pick, so very similar to what we saw the last time T1 were on the stage. It does end up opening up for a lot of, oh wait, we can slow, we can look for picks, we can play for this, but your damage can be relatively lacking if you start to fall behind, since you do have a tank on Top Esports side as well. But I am curious what we're going to get now for Jackeylove again. I think wanting something with a little bit of higher DPS on the bottom side can work.
I was about to say Misfortune is something that I would kind of expect from Jackeylove, especially with more of the wombo combo that they're going for. They are hovering through a few options right now. Oh my goodness, Jackeylove Draven. We've seen so many Dravens come out at this tournament, but into Ashe, I don't know how great of a pick it is. Like, Draven needs to be able to close that gap. And against an Ashe who has the ability to slow you, we expect the Seraphine to come through. That's probably why they're hovering a hook champion, someone who can help close that gap, provide that additional CC. You can see how Top Esports are very much drafted for the team fights. They have a ton of utility, a lot of area of effect damage, and Jackeylove looking to bring the damage on the back end. T1 considering, rather than going for some follow-up on the engage, disengage in the Renata.
I think they have enough engage already with the Ashe and the Scion, even the Pantheon as well. So T1 trying to set up to be an absolute nuisance as Top Esports go for the engage, because TES's engage is very telegraphed, and it gives you that opportunity to send out the hostile takeover and make things a little bit more difficult, especially if you can look to reflect some of these engage tools by Faker. For Top Esports, they went back towards comfort once before, it didn't work out, but can Jackeylove Draven, his signature pick, take them across at least one game?
So, I have to pose the question, What is the game plan? What is the most important aspect of this Game 3 for Top Esports? Because whether it was a super slow-paced game or a super fast-paced game so far, T1's been the better squad.
Yeah, I think Kanavi's impact on the map and trying to get this Draven ahead is extremely important. Remember that Ashe has such long range as an AD carry, and her poke facilitated alongside the Mel was something that AL really struggled to close the gap against. So in order to be able to find those engages, you need to not only have an advantage with your Draven, but you also have to have good objective setup. And I think that that really has been the area that T1 has gotten the better of Top Esports in this series.
It's not going to be an easy task for Top Esports as we get onto the Rift for game number 3. History is not in their favor. This series has not been in their favor. But they'll have to dig deep if they hope to take down the Korean powerhouse.
The last remaining Chinese team here in Shanghai trying to hold on against the back-to-back world champs as we make our way onto the Rift for game 3.
So immediately I want to draw your attention towards the mini-map. As you'll see on the bot side of the Rift, both top laners investing their early wards to help get that control over the early brush, along with a vision invested from Cream towards the mid lane to protect that bottom side jungle, as Kanavi is looking to start on the top side and path towards bot. Very much what we expect. Are they gonna... Oh, okay, so they're just gonna clear out the ward for now. But it does mean the reason why you'll see top laners do this specifically is they're like, oh, we don't care if you gank us. It's really not that big of a deal. So instead, save your ward in the bottom lane. Save it for when the junglers are likely going to be ganking you around that 4-minute mark so that you can be prepared and read the play.
Makes it so you're able to poke them down very effectively in the early stages. And if Jackeylove and Hung can't get aggressive in this bottom lane, it is going to be very difficult. And traditionally, that's where I'd look towards the jungle and be like, okay, well, you want to have something that can, you know, facilitate these plays, try and be that spearhead into the bottom lane to enable Jackeylove to follow up. But Qiyana is very good at dealing damage, but is not great at setting up. So a huge amount now rests on the head of Hung to see if he can find these crucial hooks when Kanavi makes his way down to the bottom lane.
Earlier I mentioned that I expected Kanavi to start on the top side of the jungle. However, he's actually transitioned over towards bot. We just saw Jackeylove helping him take out that red buff so that he doesn't have to go for an early base is very much what I expect, meaning that he's pathing towards the top side of the map unless he's got some creative early pathing plan. We'll keep track of him here as he secures his Raptors.
I think Kanavi just needs to try and avoid Owner. This is what we saw in the Anyone's Legend game where Owner just end up syncing up with Tarzan and making it really difficult for the Qiyana to actually be effective in any of these lanes because the Pantheon is so strong in these early ganks. So if Top Esports are able to desync Kanavi, maybe there is a chance where he can actually get access to the bottom lane when T1 are not on that side of the map.
And you can see in the first couple of games, Owner's performance versus Kanavi, just a much better showing so far from the T1 jungler. A part of more than 80% of the overall kills scored by the team has been doing exactly the job that they need him to do and has been controlling those early games as well. Plus 200 gold at 14 minutes just shows he's getting that value early and keeping it.
Oh, he absolutely was, and he really has been the heart of T1 throughout this year. That's why at this World Championship, so much praise has been recognized and given to so many of the other members because of how much they've stepped up. But so much of this year's accomplishments by T1 have largely been driven by Owner, who so far in this series has been spectacular.
Doran now could be the target, knocked up into the air by 369 Kanavi. He has the river to try to lock him down. Decimating smash won't matter. It's first blood to Kanavi and Top Esports.
Great patience from Kanavi, waiting for the flash from Doran before he committed the root, allowing him to then get the additional W into Q. As Cream getting very dangerously low, but he'll back away.
Navi even flashing the JDG logo, remembering his roots, but we'll have to see now. Faker might be in trouble.
Yeah, Faker, no mana to work with, only 400 HP. Kanavi still has Flash, but Faker has Owner, so that means the Top Esports have no play to make.
And this is what I was talking about. If Kanavi ever runs into Owner, it's a difficult time because that burst damage from the Pantheon plus the tankiness makes it very difficult for Kanavi in the 1v1 and 2v2s. But still, nice gank in towards the top side. Means that Kanavi going to be able to pick up his serrated Dirk and be in a very good spot as he continues out onto the map.
Kanavi going to interrupt the back from Owner.
Yeah, Owner losing half HP there. Solar Snare does not hit the Kiana. Owner has to throw up the shield, get a little bit of extra distance and walk away from this one. Meanwhile, bottom side, Jackie and Hong going to be forced back underneath that tier 1 turret. Keria and Gumayushi having a fine time against this Draven bottom lane.
So you asked Flowers, what is it that we want to see from Top Esports? And for me, it was very much about Kanavi being proactive on the map. And the fact that he's already secured first blood is a great start, but I want to see him translate that pressure towards that bottom side of the map. Draven as a champion needs to be accelerated, simply tied to his passive. He is relatively short range later into the game. In those hyper late games, he becomes very difficult to execute as the late game threats increase. The mid game is where he spikes, and you want to support that passive to allow him to spike effectively.
I don't think Top Esports are in a position to help Jackeylove at the moment, though. You can look at the reset coming through from Kanavi. He just cleared out his bottom side jungle before going for the reset, which means he can't actually get involved in the bottom lane. And now he's going to be moving back up towards this top side of the map as well. So across the board, it means that Top Esports going to be putting a little bit more pressure on the top side. Now, it does mean 369 going to be able to punish Dorn in the position that he's in. But unless you can get another kill for this Kiana on the top side, it means that Jackeylove is just going to continue to struggle in this bot lane.
Okay, another nice route there with the Solar Snare for Faker. Sets up so well to combine with the Radiant Volley to hit just all of those projectiles immediately there for the follow-up. Faker is playing on a very low amount of health, but Cream doesn't really have the mana to try to punish him. Faker needs to flash away there as Cream goes between worlds, hits level 6, wants to immediately drop that ulti to get the flash out of Faker. Now up in the top side, Ornhorn coming in. Doran's gonna get dove, he tries to pop the shield. He'll die, but 369 will fall too. It's a 1-for-1 here in the top lane.
369's life for Kanavi, making sure this Kiana can continue to get the kills, and this was the trade-off that we were talking about. Top Esports needed to invest time on the top half for Kanavi, and they do get the kill.
I mean, normally we see players not really invested into trying to camp Sion, but the fact that Kanavi is the one picking up all these kills, he's built up a very healthy lead, and the beauty of this wave is it's now pushing towards 369, so it doesn't matter that he doesn't have his TP available, but it also especially doesn't matter because he's pathing towards the bot side of the map. The Draven going to be the one to send up towards top, secure that wave, and also be in a position to contest the grub spawning in a minute and a bit.
We'll also give Kanavi the level 6 nice and early here as he starts to match Owner already hitting his. He'll be able to move up towards the top half, look towards this big ultimate for the available fights, and Cream has already burned Faker's flash. Now, Faker does have that reflect, you always got to bear that in mind, but if Kanavi can find Faker in these fights, there is enough burst damage to set up alongside Jackeylove to very quickly erase a T1 member off the map.
I mean, we don't see a lot of Mel in professional play, but Rebuttal is on the same level as something like a Yasuo Windwall with just how team fight warping it can be with the proper timing. Keria going to go ahead and clear out the vision from Top Esports in this Drake pit. Doesn't look like anybody's really concerned with trying to go after that objective here in the immediate future, considering those grubs are only 30 seconds away. 369 down here in the bottom lane. Does still have a little bit of a timer left on the cooldown there for the Unleashed Teleport. Same story can be told for Doran, who is still up in the top lane near that grub pit. But I would think that 369 should have the summoner ready to go to join the grub fight if that's what Top Esports wants. Remember, they've claimed all 3 grubs in the first 2 games so far.
Jackeylove ticks over to level 6. Gumayushi been sitting on that for a little while, of course. The Ash Arrow will be something I'll be keeping my eyes on, especially if he uses it in conjunction with Owner's ultimate. Yet to see Owner have much impact in this early game, but with the level 6 himself and the Dragon being started off, this will be the first objective of the game, and T1 is looking to secure it.
Yeah, just the trade with Top Esports being in a better position on the top side of the map. T1 happy to look for this, and they should be able to continue what has been basically the Dragon stacking for them all series long, and enabling the ability to try and play for these team fights later as the game goes on.
All right, 369. Just going to try to keep Gumayushi away as much as he can. Meanwhile, topside, Kanavi looking for maybe another opportunity. No, goes ahead and takes the recall as Hong and Jackeylove are going after Doran. The Scion is the focus here in this game. They knock him low.
175 stacks on Jackeylove. That ultimate continues to get stronger as the stacks continue to grow. For now, though, his priority is on getting that farm, Keria in a position to provide that cover. Jungler's just continuing to clear through the camps, but Doran needs to be careful because he doesn't know this, but Kanavi is on the top side of the map and could pay that Scion a visit.
Keria looking to try and cover though, and this has kind of been the job that Keria has been up to all of this early game, has been making sure he can be in positions where Top Esports are trying to make plays. But he's going to look for the reset, and the wave is starting to push out. 369, a little bit of trouble on the bot side.
Yeah, Gumayushi making sure he takes this trade as long as he can take it, since there's nothing 369 can do in retaliation. Cream wants Faker. Kanavi goes in. Kanavi takes a lot of damage from the turret, but he gets his man. Now Owner tries to get the follow-up kill, and he flashes for the point-blank Q, so that Kanavi cannot escape. It's a 1-for-1, but it's 3-2 for Top Esports. They'll claim the Fetal Warfare.
Owner with the cover, make sure that he's able to get one back, but still, it's Kanavi who is constantly looking for these dives. He is so much more active in this game.
Kanavi making his presence felt. Hung, vicious for a hook onto Hona. Very dangerous fight to take, especially given the health discrepancy that we're seeing from Cream right now. Kanavi is snowballing so quickly though. Already he has completed the Profane Hydra. And this Kiana is getting accelerated. It's what we wanted to see. Top Esports, they need to keep this momentum going if they want to start the reverse sweep.
Kanavi and Tarzan being those two big LPL junglers throughout all of 2025. Kanavi now on this Kiana that he's 5-1 now, I believe, with in professional play this year. So now we'll see, with all the money, with the carry opportunity in his pocket, can he be the one to keep this series alive for Top Esports, who are now again looking for a dive, this time onto Gumayushi. Hong wants to try to get away from the turret, but it's a 1-for-1. Guma does enough damage to make it an even trade.
But Top Esports are continuously happy to make these plays work. They're getting the kills for Kanavi, but they're crucially getting the kill on the laner, which means you're not getting that same experience level on towards the individuals on T1.
And it's critically not on the Draven. Jackeylove doesn't get the chance to cash in on all those stacks. 240 nearly now for this Draven. Really would like to get paid and cash out on some of those.
Hey, I mean, there are small optimizations, but Top Esports is definitely making stuff happen, which is more than can be said from what we've seen from them so far in this series. Top Esports want to keep this momentum going. Kanavi hovering around the middle lane. Ona has been continuing to farm through his jungle. He's got a sizable CS advantage, a bit of an XP lead over Kanavi. And the gold overall largely remains even because Gumayushi on the side lane has been farming up those plates along with a bit of a CS lead of his own that Jackeylove has finally been able to close.
Kanavi already an item and a half in though before a lot of people have completed their first. This Kian is incredibly strong, but it is going to be a case of trying to find value in these fights. Has to work around Keриa's ultimate, work around the rebuttal on Faker. But as long as you can do that, I think you're in a decent spot here as Top Esports to play around your jungler. And oftentimes when we've seen Kanavi in these sort of do-or-die situations, he's taken that mantle on. Like you think, cast your eyes back to the Belveth that he played for JDG in 2023, saying, I will be the carry, I can do it. Wasn't successful then. But now, with the tournament life on the line, he wants once more to be the carry for his team.
He's looking for Faker yet again. Has the grass enchantment for the invisibility, but he's not going to find the angle. Doesn't have the range. Solar Snare, also not quite the range to catch up to Kanavi there, as Owner is waiting in the jungle. But if you're Top Esports, if you're Kanavi, you have to know that the bottom lane priority has belonged to T1, so that bottom half of the jungle is not safe.
Good read.
Absolutely. Very, very good reads. Kanavi will get a few little scraps of the Raptor camp.
Chicken nuggets.
20 seconds now until the dragon spawns. Bases are going to quickly come through from T1. No TP available for Faker, as Cream is already back out onto the map. No completed item for him, whereas we see the Blackfire Torch now finished for Faker. Top Esports, will they feel confident enough to go for this early fight? As Top Esports is setting up around the dragon.
All right, Top Esports, there's 30 seconds left on the clock until the turret plates fall. So if you're T1 and you want to try to grab one of those instead of go for the Drake, well, the problem is you're not getting a whole lot of a great chance to do it. 369 still holding the fort up there in the top lane. Now for T1, you do have teleport available on Doran, but there's no teleport for 369.
I think they're looking for a pick on the bottom side with Top Esports. The Between Worlds available for Cream, but Gumayushi spots out Kanavi. and will manage to step away. But Top Esports invested a lot in shifting down towards this bottom side, which means that T1 get to move in towards River first.
And critically, 369's teleport now is available yet again. So Top Esports, they're going to try to commit everybody to this. Doran has already teleported into the area first, but Ornn's about to arrive into the mid lane. T1 get engaged on. Hong's ready to go in, but a hostile takeover over the top tries to keep him alive. Keria staying up here for a little bit longer. Keria and Faker are both very low. Faker survives. Jackeylove under pressure. Gumayusi wins the AD carry battle, and Top Esports have already lost 3 men. It's about to be 4. Keria may have died, Faker may have died, but Top Esports are going to lose everyone. Owner and Doran bury the last one. It's an ace for T1.
Kanavi got one shot at the start of this fight. Look into the pit as Kanavi goes over the wall. Owner says, not a hope in hell, buddy. Doran and Owner shut him down. And on the top side, as Top Esports try to make that fight, Jackeylove gets focused down by Gumayusi and cannot make the difference.
I mean, Keria had a fantastic Renata ultimate on the top side of the fight because it looked like Hong had connected absolutely everything. But once that Renata came down, they lost everything.
We're not done, though. It's a pit coming in for Top Esports. They find Keria in the enemy jungler. They catch T1 unaware. Now Faker with a rebuttal. Hong still manages to close the distance here with the dread line, but Owner's ready to show up and offer a little bit of assistance. Cream in some danger now. There's the execution. There's the damage. There's T1. Owner and Faker get one back as Top Esports are still on the retreat. Hong now stunned up by the Pantheon. A little bit more damage from a point-blank Comet Spear, and Owner's unstoppable. Top Esports take the Herald in the meantime, but it's more kills over to T1.
Top Esports looked unsure about what they wanted to achieve. Kanavi was sticking in the pit, whereas the rest of Jackeylove and the rest were trying to move in towards that topside jungle to find the plays.
Owner in the enemy jungle, stacking up his Comet Spears, was waiting to see if Kanavi would just greedily jump over the wall and try to start the blue buff. Kanavi finds him there, as now Doran coming in. Big collision on Jackeylove, and Gumayusi picks up the free payday.
No flash on the Draven means that T1 can simply run him down.
Oh no, Kanavi! What was that? He jumps into the middle of everybody, and the Comet Spear to execute him. The pressure of elimination in the semifinals is crushing Kanavi as Owner tanks up 369 for the time being. Hong with the pressure onto Guma. Cream goes between worlds, tries to jump in. Gumayusi about to die. The bailout will not save him. Top Esports, they need more now. Cream wants to get out, but the Solar Snare locks him up. Faker gets the return kill as Faker and Keria duel with Hong and 369. A triple to the Ornn, as that will be the execution through the Golden Eclipse for Faker to take out Hong.
Blood has made its way to the Rift as both teams have taken the gloves off. Top Esports don't want to walk away with nothing, so they bring the fight to T1. It ends up, considering the gold deficit, quite good for them, finding a couple of kills. The problem is it's the Ornn getting the shutdowns. 1,000 gold secured by 369 after he takes out Owner, but the ulti back in from Owner, who's been having a fantastic game 3. 6-1-1 the scoreline. Let's look back as this is started by Kanavi getting caught.
This started horribly because they've just lost Jackeylove in the back, Owner with the snipe, and then T1 think maybe, hang on, we don't want to be around here, as Top Esports look to collapse. 369 gets a good Ornn ultimate to set up for Hong and Cream to go for the in-between worlds. But as you call it, Betty, it's all this extra gold going on towards the burn from 369, taking that one. Cream then gets focused down as Faker comes in through that bottom side, and it's just 369 getting so much of this gold.
The TP in from Faker towards the Raptor pit. He pushed out that top wave. He arrived behind and provided the much needed damage to help get a few kills back for T1, but we return to the Rift as they push on the top side.
Kanavi goes in, but his ultimate doesn't get a lot. Owner with the shield ready to continue the counterattack as Hong will be first to die. Faker takes the kill, and 369's their next target. Solar Snare won't hit him. Ornhorn maybe for the counterattack. 4-man knockup from 369, but it is not enough. T1 still over 2,000 gold ahead. Whirling Death will not find a snipe.
It feels like Top Esports is getting desperate. They force a 4 versus 5. Cream is in the bottom lane with no TP available. That pressure is now even going to be matched by Doran. It won't convert into major objectives, but T1 find themselves more kills.
Yeah, and it feels like desperation for Top Esports, because that's exactly what it is. T1 have run this region for such an incredibly long time, and it feels like it's just going to be another notch in Faker's bedpost as they start to move forward.
And we can see the engage comes through. The combination between 369 and Kanavi takes off half of Ona's HP, but that's all it does. Gumayushi and Faker are completely safe. They know they have the numbers advantage. Jackeylove is afraid to approach with the collapsing Scion, and it converts into 2 kills for T1.
There's just no damage there every single time. Like, great knockup from 369, but we're back to it again.
We might be fighting once more. Rift Herald summing up mid lane here from Top Esports. But T1 are looking to knock the thing down before it ever even gets to charge. Plus 25 gold, might as well have been a melee minion. T1 hold the line there, and now the next Drake has spawned. Whoever secures this objective will secure the feats of strength. T1 first to the area, control over the bot side river, trying to defend their control ward. Jackeylove has the axis spinning, ready to step up, try to clear the vision. Cream pincering around, looking to try to cut off T1, coming behind them. Top Esports backing away now on the main front. Cream shows himself, ready to try to enter into the fight now, but a lot of lockdown. Nobody finds the first kill. Kanavi is dead. Cream's next to follow. Top Esports jungler is caught again, and now everyone else has to run. Jackeylove with the flash over the wall just to try to survive. Hong is running. T1, they want more kills. 369 and Jackie get enough distance to get away, but T1 have claimed the feats, claimed the Drake, claimed the tier 1 turret. Otacon's live on the map, and T1's got a 4,000 gold lead at Soul Point.
Renata stocks are going to be at all-time high after this game. Keria with another fantastic ult as they just see Cream go invisible, thinking that might be the engage, but immediately Keria responds, and T1 are able to chase down the back line as there's nothing Top Esports can do.
It's so difficult for Jackeylove to do anything in these fights. He was just pushed back by Doran. He was tickling this Scion as the rest of T1 handled the flank from Cream, shut down Kanavi, and won in a landslide victory. They find themselves at Soul Point. They're looking to go 3-0 in this series. 369 will flash away. T1 are in the heads of Top Esports.
Top Esports look completely frazzled right now, 20 minutes in to this third and potentially final game in this series, potentially the last game they will play at Worlds 2025. They have not made it to the semifinals since 2020. It's been 5 years for Top Esports getting back to this point. They've never made it to the finals, and T1 wants to keep it that way. Faker's the target for Top as he tries to get the route to buy himself a little bit more time, but Faker is shut down. Cream's the target now for T1. Flashes over the wall, but Owner's ready to flash follow. Cream dies, mid for mid. Gumayushi with a flash forward, and he's putting arrows into Jackeylove back. Jackie gets away with a Kimtech blast cone, but the rest of the arrows continue to focus fire. One more volley takes him out, and Gumayushi gets it done.
T1 will not let Top Esports rest. It has been so many years that they've continued to find picks and plays.
And Kanavi again just picking the wrong moments. He goes in, he survives for now, but it costs Hong's life this time instead. T1, 4,000 gold lead still, Soul Point still. And look at the mini-map, it looks like a Christmas tree of red pings. Everybody's calling for Otacon.
Ona adds another notch to the spear as he goes to 9, 1, and 3 here at the 2025 semifinals. What a monstrous series it has been from him, as the early game was going the way of Kanavi, but the rest of it has gone the way of Ona.
12 years T1 have beaten the LPL in best of fives at Worlds. 5 years Top Esports not making it to finals. 3 last years it has been T1 that have taken down 369, and it looks like that reign will continue.
And this pick onto Faker looks like the start of something. But the collapse from T1 is just so fast. Ona and Doran are there to shut down Cream. Jackeylove and 369 trying to regroup, but they then become the targets of the hunt. The slows from Gumayushi set up for the chase onto Jackeylove as he desperately tries to escape. It is not enough, as the single kill onto Faker costs them 2 on the escape.
The clock ticks ever forward against Top Esports. T1, it's 75 seconds until the Chemtech Soul spawns. Kanavi on the flank. He's got to find some sort of a major redemption play. He finds a route onto Keria and nothing more. Now he's marked. Kanavi trying to do something on the side, but it's Hong here on the front line that's taking most of the burst. Owner still in the middle of everybody. The redemption coming in to save him, and the bailout does just that. Cream at least gets one. Hong at 200. Jackeylove trying to fight, but the decimating smash guarantees that he can't. Gumayushi knocked down as we've got a 3-for-2 favoring T1. Faker's not even been in the fight though, and Mel is ready to make her arrival. Cream, the only damage really left for the side of Top Esports. Faker pops the rebuttal, and Keria is still alive. Solar Snare locks up the Ornn, and 3-6-9. The countdown's about to hit 0. They're just waiting, trying to stall this out as long as they can. Make sure that he's not alive at all for the Dragon Soul. They'll kill the Ornn, and it's another team fight for T1.
It's simply a brawl in the mid lane. Fists go flying as Hong looks for a hook. Keria being zoned off on the side. Owner tanks it initially, but he has the bailout to bring him back into the action. The ulti from Kanavi really doesn't convert into much. He ends up falling first, and as the rest of Top Esports try to keep the fight going, Gumayushi does everything he can to take out Jackeylove.
And it was a success. The AD carries managing to battle it out and take them down. But now you can see 369 just perplexed. He is trying desperately on this Ornn to find some way to structure the fights, but T1 are not letting them find their footing. And now Jackeylove up in topside, threatening a Baron, but I think T1 happy to take that fight if it comes to us.
T1 pushing their way into the topside river. Dagda, you mentioned early that lifetime record of T1 against the LPL at Worlds. Jackeylove forced to flash over the wall. Doran flashing after. Here comes the Comet Spear ready to fly over the top of the decimating smash, but Redemption keeps Jackie alive. Maybe the kill from Kanavi, but no. At least Faker should die here through the bailout, so Cream's gonna get the credit on that one. But T1 aren't done. Cream goes between worlds. 369 with a 2-man knockup. Top Esports, they found Gumayushi, but they have to trade Cream. Jackie's still alive for a little bit more damage as Keria, Owner, and Doran want some more. Hong gets almost caught by the hostile takeover, but it's 369 focused instead. T1, their carries might be down, but they still find another kill. Doran goes on a rampage, and the 3 remaining men on T1 knock down the tier 2.
369 survives for so long, but it's only so he can shed more tears as T1 continue to buckle the knees of Top Esports. There is little that they can do in this scenario. They just don't have enough damage.
I mean, Top Esports are coming very close in a number of these fights, but as you said, Dagda, they're just a little too behind in the gold. Very forced play comes through from T1. A nice execution onto Faker, ends up being traded with Kanavi. Meanwhile, underneath the tower here, you've got Doran and Owner tanking so many tower shots. Cream with a good ulti, 369 with a good ulti of his own, but then Cream closes the gap too much. The target focus from T1 allows them to get the kill onto Cream, and then it's just a retreat from the side of Top Esports.
Once again, T1 taking control over the topside river. They will immediately start up the Baron. They eliminated IG in the only play-ins game at Worlds 2025. They eliminated AL in the quarters. They're about to eliminate Top Esports here in the semifinals. Kanavi takes the arrow, and there's no way he's getting away from that one. The Baron secured by T1. There's no neutral objectives to care about on the map right now, and there's 35 seconds until the enemy jungler is back alive.
T1 and eliminations at Worlds are just a different beast altogether, and Top Esports are all too familiar with it. Quarterfinals, semifinals, it does not matter. T1 only see victory.
T1 with the Baron pushing into the enemy base now. Doran happy to tank the turret. T1 continuing their push straight through that mid lane inhibitor. Sidewaves not really set up for a successful multi-lane push. So T1's just gonna keep going straight for the Nexus. Here comes the Grand Starfall, and Jackie's already down. Hong goes with them. The focus fire into 369 as Cream and Kanavi scramble to stay alive, but nobody on Top Esports has anything to stop T1. It's only the mid laner left. They'll get the final kill. And yet again, the highest peaks of the LPL are merely stepping stones for the unkillable Demon King. Faker and T1 have set the stage for the World Finals Telecom War.
At the World Championship, it is T1 that define excellence. As for the 4th time in a row, they will return to the World Final.
8 out of the 10 times Faker has made it to Worlds, he has now made it to Finals. An 80% appearance rate is absurd at this level of competition, but he continues to show up year after year after year.
Incredible showing from T1 heading to the finals yet again. And now it's time for us to go ahead and toss this one back to our analysts.
And it ends not in a bang, but in a whimper for the last representative of the LPL in their own house in Shanghai, as they once again walk into the wall that is T1 and Faker at Worlds.
And it's just another notch for T1, and it really hammers home again that we are in the I don't know how many era of T1.
I mean, standing ovation. Standing ovation. What a series.
Yeah.
For him, right?
I mean,
Not for TES.
it wasn't much of a series, but great for T1. And I think the big difference, like in terms of like actual analysis of this series, came from nullifying Kanavi in the jungle, right? Because you saw whenever TES were trying to make plays, T1 was there stymieing them at every turn.
I mean, I just think it's another incredible performance from T1. You just can't say enough. 4 straight World Finals, ridiculous. 8 out of 10 times Faker has made World Finals when he goes. He's now going for his 6th World Championship. It is just unmatched. It will never be matched. He's so far beyond the game to me that he is just one of the most dominant people in sport, period, ever.
Yeah, and we were talking about it just here before, right? It is such a long career, and you've had to come up with monikers for him over and over. It was the young upstart that won Worlds, that was the start of a dynasty. It was the T1 dynasty with the back-to-back victories. It was the unkillable Demon King. It was the captain that led his team when the rest of his team fell short. It was the other way around when the rest of his team stood in for him and made him shine as well, into now this narrative that was slumbering already with beating the LPL, but in the last couple of years, specifically in 2023, going through that bracket, showing that the LPL was no match for him at Worlds, and that he does it again in this bracket today.
And to me, it's now about the longevity. It's about the fact that he has become the timeless one. You know, he is someone who just never is seeming to fade, is always able to maintain that level. And it's just a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm glad you brought up in sport, because I feel like we were just having this conversation walking down the street the other day where we were like, who is the Faker of like bleh? There is no Faker of any other traditional sport that we could think of. Like, we started with esports, we moved to traditional sports, nothing really came to mind off the rip. And that just shows how dominant he is. And the most impressive thing is something you brought up.
But
there you go. At the beginning of the day was how many times he's had to reinvent himself to stay relevant, with this Mel pick kind of coming out of nowhere.
But I want to draw it past Faker, right? Because obviously everything will always gravitate towards him, but we also need to be... The last time that T1 was in the World Finals was 2021. It was EDG versus DK. Back then, that was the debut of the 4-man core that stands to this day. Keria, Gumayushi,
and Owner. And I think that even today, we also need to highlight again, and I'm not here trying to dig on Doran. I think he actually had a great series. His world has been solid so far.
Oh, they're gonna interview him.
That three-man unit for me is something that we keep going back to, the stability of Gumayushi, the carry potential of Keria, the way he takes over games, and Owner, who just is one of the most reliable junglers that we have seen here, as my boy Doran, or I say our boy Doran, getting the highest damage in the game as well.
I love Doran, and I gotta say, it's crazy because everyone knows Faker's the GOAT, but that core that you're talking about, it's inarguable, they have to be in the greatest for their position ever, these kind of talks, because they are there for so many World Finals in a row. Even though they did it in a much more condensed amount of time, they have accomplished more than many of the greatest players ever did in a full decade.
Absolutely, and now they are playing another grand final just next week. And since you didn't want to celebrate Doran,
hey, don't throw me under the bus!
Yeah, he's standing by on stage for the Verizon post-game interview, where he will be talked to by Candice, if my eyes don't deceive me.
再一次恭喜 T1 获得本场比赛的胜利。我们邀请到的是 T1 的上单选手 Doran， 也有请他和大家打声招呼。
먼저 인사 한마디 부탁드리겠습니다. Could you say hi to the fans?
안녕하세요. T1 탑라이너 도란입니다.
Hi, this is T1's top laner Doran.
今年我们世界赛的主题是争者留其名，而多兰选手，你的名字也即将会出现在全球总决赛决赛的舞台上。 你即将登上那一个所有选手都梦寐以求的舞台，这也是你职业生涯第一次踏上决赛舞台，而召唤师奖杯就在你的身后，同样的也是近在咫尺。所以你此刻有怎样的感想呢？
Congratulations on the victory. This year's World's theme was Name Etched in Battle, and this is also your very first World's Finals of your career. With the championship trophy now so close, what kind of feelings do you have at this moment?
입장하면서 트로피를 봤는데 너무 가슴이 벅찼고 꼭 저거를 갖고 싶다라는 마음이 많이 들어서 오늘 열심히 했던 것 같습니다.
When I was making my way to the stage, I was able to see the trophy, the Summoner's Cup, and I really want to have that in my hands. That made me want to play even better, even harder today.
但是在今天的这一场比赛当中，当队伍需要的时候，你依旧会拿出自信的战士类的英雄。所以，当你拿出不同类型英雄的时候，会有怎样不同的心态呢？
In previous matches, Doran, you're often playing tank champions, but today when the team needed it, you brought out the bruiser champions. How different does it feel to play these different types of champions? What kind of mindset do you switch back and forth?
메타라고 생각했기 때문이고 또 상황에 따라 필요한 챔프들 언제든지 다 꺼낼 수 있다고 생각해서 마음가짐은 카밀 같은 경우에는 탱커와는 다르게 좀 상황을 만들어줘야겠다는 마인드로 임했던 것 같습니다.
I've been playing a lot of champions because it is the tank champion meta on the top lane, but I'm always ready to play different type of champions when the situation needs me to play different kind of champions. The mindset that I had when I was playing Camille, I was like, unlike other tank champions, I should be able to set things up for my team as well.
两种英雄都发挥得非常的好。我还记得你在刚刚加入 T1 的时候，曾经在直播当中说，一切就好像是梦一样。 现在我坐在了 T1 的基地当中，而你也未曾辜负这一份机遇。面对重重的压力，你不断的证明自己，也让大家记住了这一个 T1 多兰。所以你觉得自己加入 T1 之后，给你带来最大的改变会是什么呢？
I still remember when you first joined T1 and you said on your stream that it feels like a dream. I cannot still believe that I'm actually sitting in T1's facility. And since then, you have worked so hard in order to make everyone to remember the name T1 Doran. What do you think has changed the most since joining T1?
경기 한 판에 되게 스트레스를 많이 받고 또 좀 마음에 여유가 없었는데 이제 팀원들의 강한 멘탈리티를 보면서 저도 많이 배웠고 또 그런 것들이 지금 이렇게 월드 결승을 진출하는 그런 성과를 이룬 것 같습니다.
In the past, I used to get so stressed out by every single result of each game, and I didn't really have a lot of time to focus on what's next. You know, I was so stressed out by every single result, but after joining T1, I was able to see how mentally strong my teammates are, and I was able to learn so much from them. And with that, I was able to make it to the World's Finals.
所以你也一直在燃烧着自己，同样的也守卫了 T1 的荣耀。那现在你们即将步入决赛的舞台，你有什么想要对这一些并肩同行的队友们说的呢？
Throughout this year, in T1's voice comms, T1 players and coaches have always been there encouraging you. But today, you gave it everything you had, defending T1's honor with your own strength. What message would you like to share with the team?
네, 1년 동안 너무 힘든 순간도 많았지만 지금까지 같이 해서 버텨서 이겨냈던 것 같고 이제 일주일 남았으니까 모든 걸 쏟아부어서 꼭 일주일 후에 웃고 있으면 좋겠습니다.
We have gone through so many hardships this year, but we were able to overcome this because we were together. Now we only have one more week to go. Let's give it our all, and I hope we are smiling next week.
一定会达成自己的目标的。那其实之前多兰选手也说过，在瑞士轮阶段，你们面临了很多的挑战，就好像是一个个的死胡同。 但是每一个死胡同镜頭都是觀眾們的歡呼聲。那今天你在現場有沒有感受到他們的歡呼？而這些歡呼有沒有給到你動力呢？
In the previous teaser, you said everything looks like a dead end. But at the end of every dead end, there's always the sound of cheers of T1 fans. Tonight, did you feel that loud cheer you talked about? How much motivation did their voices give you?
네, 이렇게 타국에서 또 큰 경기장에서 좋은 경기 할 수 있는 게 너무 큰 행운이라고 생각하고 또 항상 팬분들의 응원 덕분에 지치지 않고 잘 달려갈 수 있는 것 같습니다. 감사합니다.
I am very, very lucky to be able to perform on such a big stage, also abroad. It's all thanks to this energy, the cheer, the support coming from the fans. You guys make me keep going. Thank you very much.
恭喜他们！各位召唤师们，就让我们成都再见！
And that whole interview to me is such a microcosm of Doran, a player that is so insanely endearing, right? This is a player that since 2020 DRX, right, even before that in Griffin, in Gen G, by all of his teammates, despite some of his failures internationally, has been praised for his teamwork, for his work ethic, and the energy that he brings, the fact that he's finally able to exercise his demons, and again, through showing good performance as well, is just so heartwarming to see.
I think the real battle in the finals, it's not BDD versus Faker. It's Dorian versus Peter, because they're just so adorable. It's so hard not to cheer for them.
Adorable off? Yeah, love it.
A battle for everyone's heart. I think the big thing for me is Dorian has tried so much on so many other teams. And I remember he kind of reiterated in this interview, but that MSI interview he did on stage, when he was like, yeah, I just saw how not only the mental resilience of his teammates, but also just everyone was here to help me, right? Whatever I needed, they helped me prepare for these games. I feel like I'm a lot more mentally prepared too, thanks to the staff and people who are here to help me out. And I thought that was great, because, you know, like now he's getting a lot of great support, and he's in the World's Final.
All he needed was a team that was as crazy as his. And you know, as far as teammates go, T1 is a good team to have that.
In that last game, they were playing solo queue, and it was crazy. Azale, we have one more thing to do.
We do, and the Oppo player of the series for today, none other than the GOAT himself, my boy Faker. It all comes back to the prediction. I mean, he crushed it. I think there honestly could have been a number of different players who did get it because a lot of T1 members were stepping up. But when I think especially back to this game one, he absorbed all the pressure. He was crushing through the game. Game two was very active on the Galio. I think it's just another stellar performance in a line of so many.
Yeah, and I love how, again, we talk about how he keeps reinventing himself, bringing out this Mel pick now 2 series in a row against anyone's legend and top esports has been, I don't think it's necessarily decided games, but it's yet another pick he's added to his arsenal to prepare for some of these LPL drafts.
That's why he's still dragging bans towards his Azir, which obviously cannot be given to him. And I want to highlight what you were saying as well. Faker is obviously the core, but we had standout performances from Guma. We had Orin, a donor.
A donor.
Yeah, I'm going to put them on Azir.
The donor combo.
And owner in the final game.
It's the donor combo.
Yeah,
The two of
they're
which
donor now.
We had Carrier, whose Nico game, I think, was his personal standout. Right? We had Guma on Kai'Sa, which has been such a big issue
He was
for him.
schmoovin'.
It is just the entirety of T1 coming together for yet another Worlds. It's
crazy.
It's crazy.
Really, I mean, we're going to see Faker and Owner at the top of their game versus Cuz and BDC. And I just wanted to make a note. It took LPL teams, right, to give them the fight in the grand finals in 2023 and 2024. They couldn't do it. They couldn't beat Faker. In 2022, there was an upstart team called DRX who made the impossible happen in 5 games. With that, KT has a very DRX vibe, Emily.
Oh, no.
I have another story for you. It goes all the way back to 2013 when a young, bright-eyed Emily was watching as her team, the KT Rolster Bullets, went up 2-0 over SK Telecom. Her heart was then dashed when they fell. And now they are meeting in the 2025 World Championship where I expect the same result. I expect to be absolutely crushed.
Wait, Emily not trusting her favorite team?
I know. Well, you didn't believe them in the semifinals or the quarterfinals or anything. It's time to believe.
No!
I just think it's so cool to have a telecom war here all
really
these years later. I mean, you're talking back, so far in 2013. For me, telecom war goes even further back because I used to watch them in Brood War. I remember watching Bisu versus Flash, which to me was like the peak of esports. That was the greatest StarCraft players in the world going at it in telecom wars, coming out in the ace match. And to me, like, that was the genesis of my esports journey, was watching them as a little kid, staying up in the middle of the night to watch Brood War.
Okay, Unk, you lost the other one.
I'm old as hell.
In the pre-show next week, we're going to have to show some images of that because that is a long time back.
Man.
But I love it because it is such a long tradition, and I love it when things happen that kind of transcend the game you're seeing at that moment, right? Because esports does have such a rivaled history. Any final words from you guys until we don't see each other for a week, by the way? I'm going to miss you.
It's been a pleasure. This has been such a fun stretch of games. 6 days in a row, 4 banger quarterfinals, an incredible set of semifinals. It's just been such a pleasure, and I feel like we are going to be treated to an amazing finals next week.
I still can't believe that BDD is, because we can believe T1
You have one more show, brother.
Right? And no, we're not bringing that up. That's for next week. No, not doing any of that. I will not cry on broadcast again until next week. That's fine.
You will.
I do truly hope that KT can make the miracle happen, because they're going to be the heavy underdogs.
Stop hyping my team!
They're going to be the heavy underdogs.
Peter will be world champion.
We get a week to not get excited about KT. And
we should, though!
No, I'm going to cut you guys off. It's been enough. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. This was crazy. But that is a wrap for us here in Shanghai as our finalists KT and T1 make their way to the World Championship stage in Chengdu. We'll be live next week for the League of Legends World Championship Finals with Game 1 starting on Sunday at 3 p.m. local time. That's 8 a.m. CET or 11 p.m. the previous night for those watching from across the international dateline on the West Coast. And the pre-show will start an hour before that. But if you're looking for more League of Legends right now, in just a few hours, the EMEA Masters Summer Finals is live from the Paris Games Week, starting at 7 p.m. in Paris, 10 a.m. Pacific. We have KC Blue and Los Heretics who will compete for the crown, and to lock the last spot at LEC Versus, the all-new winter format coming to the LEC in 2026. With that, here's Max with more on what's to expect from LEC Versus. Bye-bye!
Bye.
Hey LEC fans, I'm Max, Director for League of Legends Esports in EMEA. And I'm here to walk you through some of the big changes coming to the 2026 LEC season. The biggest change for next year? We're saying goodbye to the Winter Split. And hello to LEC Versus, the EMEA Invitational. Kicking off in January, LEC Versus will bring together the 10 LEC teams you know and love. And to make things even more exciting, 2 ERL teams will join the mix. The EMEA Masters Summer Champions and the best performing team across the 2025 EMEA Masters season. And yes, you guessed it, the latter is Los Ratones. Both invited ERL teams will compete exclusively in LEC Versus, neither in the LEC Spring nor in the Summer Split. It's a one-time shot to show what they've got on the big stage, and we cannot wait to see how they stack up. And the champions will lift a brand new trophy and qualify to represent EMEA at first stand.
It's shaping up to be an incredible year for League of Legends esports in EMEA. In the meantime, enjoy Worlds and EMEA Masters, and we'll see you soon.
They wanted the public execution, they can't get Gumayusi! 3-man block blossom from Peria, and Jackylove's dead again! This time, his friends might just go with him. Gumayusi needs a little bit more as Kanavi chases forward on Doran. The Trundle needs the kill, but he dies to the Cataclysm. Cream locked up by Faker. It's a Justice punch to the jaw, and Gumayusi knocks him out! Triple kill for the Kaisa as Hong's a fish out of water, and T1 get an ace! Faker and T1 have set the stage for the World Finals Telecom War!
Well, that was fast. See you guys next weekend.